What is
Yeah.
it about?
Oh, I'll just ask you some questions, get you to think a little bit.
Okay.
Why not? Yeah.
Okay?
You're not going to show us maps and ask us.
No. Can you
Where
come
it's
closer to me? Yeah, sure.
Where are you from?
I'm originally from Romania, but I live here in the Netherlands.
Oh.
Yeah.
My grandfather was from Romania.
Oh, interesting. Okay. What's your name, by the way?
Tori.
Tori. Nice to meet you, Tori. I'm Chip.
Nice to meet
How
you.
about you?
Chip?
Jonathan.
Jonathan.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm Chip. Yeah. So let me ask you, when it comes to animals, how do you feel about animals?
Oh my God.
I have 2 dogs, so I like them.
You like animals, right? Do you
Yeah,
think
of course.
animals are deserving of respect, of our respect?
Of
Definitely.
course.
Right?
Yeah.
Like we should be respecting animals, right? Do you think exploiting them would yield respect for them, or do you think it would be disrespectful for us to exploit them?
That's a tautological question. Exploitation is always disrespectful.
Exploitation is always disrespectful. Okay, thank you. Okay, so then do you think that when we use animals in animal agriculture, don't you think we're disrespecting them?
Yeah, somewhat, yeah.
Yeah, somewhat. Why somewhat and not yes?
Because, I mean, I would say that depends on agriculture. There is always a degree of disrespect in exploitation. So, it's not something limited to animal life. I think it has to do with the larger scope
Yeah.
of
but,
how we live,
but would you agree that animal agriculture is inherently dependent on animal exploitation?
Well, it's like capitalism is inherently, it's inherently dependent on on exploitation in general.
I don't think capitalism is inherently dependent on our exploitation, but I do think that.
Yes.
I mean,
So we disagree on
that's a different. We can agree to disagree on that because I do believe that there can be a capitalistic world where, with certain rules in place, that we could make it work in a sense.
You're
But
a
there-
dreamer.
I'm a dreamer. Yes, let's put it this way. There are idealistic scenarios for that, but like.
My point is, for us, I think the difference is not. The point is not on agriculture; is on capitalism. There was
Right.
agriculture before capitalism, and that was different than what we call industrial, agriculture.
But in all animal agriculture, there is animal exploitation, right?
Not necessarily. I think there is.
So wait, how
could-
can it be that? Because animal agriculture literally means farming animals. So how can we farm animals without exploiting animals?
we can coexist with them somehow, create a common. I think that's essentially how agriculture started. We relate to nature, so we're not external to nature. Our relationship to nature is one not of someone who comes outside and exploits
Kind
it.
of like a scavenger thing.
No,
but then
I think
it wouldn't be a system, would it? Right? Because if we need to create a system that we need to bring the animals to existence ourselves, we cannot wait for the animals themselves to replicate because maybe they don't replicate fast enough, right?
So that's industrial.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
in the
that's
past, we could
I'm
create.
not talking about industries. I'm just talking about like a system of like an agricultural system. When we farm animals, we are exploiting them because we are using them for whatever it is that we want to get, right? Like if
So
we want to
wha-
get dairy milk, we are using the
So
cows
what,
for
what
dairy,
I think what you're calling agriculture, I'll make the nuance that agriculture has existed for thousands of years.
Yeah.
In industry, not so much. So what
Yeah.
you the fact that you conflate the way we do things now.
No. I come from Romania. Subsistence agriculture was a big deal. I saw agriculture happening in my grandma's backyard,
So, yeah.
and it's still animal exploitation. It still is. Like, let's just put it this way, to this perspective. Dairy cows, in order for them to produce milk, they're mammals, so they have to have babies.
Yes.
Do you think farmers let them decide when they want to have babies, or do you think they forcefully impregnate them?
I think nothing, but if you had, let's put it this way, if your grandma had to produce milk to sell it, that's not no longer
No, that was for her.
for her. But that's, I mean, I don't know what your grandma's story is, but for a very long time in human civilization, for thousands of years, we had some sort of more less industrial relationship to nature
I'm
in
not
general.
talking about industry.
So I'm not,
Even on a
But you
small
are
farm.
talking about industry. Agriculture is industry.
No, let's talk about a small farm, right?
I grew up like you grew up with subsistence farming. I grew up with agribusiness, like with the destruction of whole landscapes and whole regions by agribusiness. This is very different from your grandmother with a cow in the backyard, a cow in her yard,
And now-
doing
I understand they're very
subsistence
different, but they're
farming.
both exploitation. I understand one
But
exploitation
why
is
can't
worse.
But then why can you say that capitalism is not exploitative and
Okay,
that
capitalism
it's-
is exploitative.
Okay, no, but
I just don't want to talk about capitalism. That's
No,
the whole point of
I-
it.
But what do you wanna
that's the
talk
thing, I'll
about?
go.
I want to talk about animals, right? I'm
So
here to
I'll
speak
go
about
further
animals.
and say, we're talking about animals, but we can talk about nature in general. We can talk
Yeah.
about land.
Yeah.
How essentially change or operate within land. And you could
That's
think,
exploitative.
and then if you want to call it exploitative, the problem is that the assumption of being exploited is that we are not part of nature.
Well, the difference
that
between
our intervention there is some sort of external intervention, when I think the more natural thing is that we are part of it. So when we intervene in nature, some interventions are aggressive, but some are just because we are animals.
There's
like
there's a difference, right? There's a difference. Like exploiting individuals who are sentient is a difference between exploiting land or exploiting farms. It's just a different thing, right? Like you would argue that you said exploiting animals is wrong, right?
Yes.
You said because it's wrong because they're sentient, right? That's the main reason
You're
why
saying
exploiting
that,
one.
but there's
Why is it wrong to exploit animals then?
one might say there's a philosophical argument called panpsychism, which says existence is as a whole is sentient. Everything is just molecules shaking.
Yeah.
So you could make a claim that
But
exploiting.
sentience literally means a subjective experience. It means there's a somebody behind those eyes, right? Animals have that existence.
But so do trees.
Trees
So
don't
we-
have that. Trees don't
Of
have a
course they
central
do.
nervous system
Have you seen the new research on trees and the way
I have
they
seen all of it.
communicate
Trust me,
through-
I'm in the area. But
They
like
communicate through roots and they communicate.
they
with
communicate,
each
but
other.
they don't have a subjective experience. Computers communicate,
how
but
do you
computers don't have a
know?
subjective
Well,
experience.
this is the argument that I heard as a child. I heard all the time that animals had no subjective experience, and we know that that's not true. And that when we thought of animals as having subjective experiences, we were, what were we doing? Personifying them? There
Yeah.
was a word, like
Yeah,
people
yeah.
would
Anthropomorphizing.
anthropomorphizing them.
But either way,
But so we know that things change, and as we learn, we know that more and more
But when they
things have
change,
sentience.
but when they change, we can readdress certain issues, right?
Right.
Like we
Yeah.
can't assume that we can't go on further and saying, well, we know that this item changed, therefore any other item could potentially change, right?
Yeah.
What we know so far is that animals are sentient and plants aren't. That's what we know so far. That's the scientific consensus so far, right? And
So-
regardless, exploiting animals is wrong, right? I'm assuming you guys consume animal products. So I'm just trying to understand how can you
try
leverage
to do fewer
how can you
and fewer
leverage
every year.
saying that exploiting animals is wrong
That's
while at the same time
exactly.
supporting exploitation of animals
Because there's
Exactly.
for something that you don't need.
So
Exactly.
we return to
Great
the original
question.
question. There is no ethical life under capitalism.
But there is a
That-
there's a
wait,
difference.
Can I
There's a
finish my
difference.
You ask a question, let me answer the point. So what I'm saying
You're
is
not
that
answering the point.
there is no ethical life under capitalism.
I've heard this argument many times. It's
Wait,
not
so let me
answering.
finish.
It's a
In the
deflection.
so my point is
Oh,
essentially
I'm
this.
saying you're right.
Oh, the point is you're
So why
making is
not
that
choose not to oppress animals, not to exploit
without
them?
what I'm trying to say, without a further questioning of those larger schemes, essentially you're either doing moralism or you're doing basically gardening. So I think there's the famous activist, apropos in Brazil, Chico Mendes, who said, environmental questioning, questioning animal rights, questioning all those things without a larger scope of how we live life in social, it's pure gardening, it's bourgeois moralism. And I think just guilting people is bourgeois moralism.
Well, no, I can explain to you why it's a
You're
difference.
refusing to ask large questions
Listen,
about
you're making
the
a lot of
industry.
points. You have to also allow me to speak if you're going to
Yes.
make points. Okay. So first of all, it's not an issue with capitalism. This is a system, right?
Yeah.
It's a fair system. It's a system that is inherently dependent on exploitation.
Good.
Systems. There's plenty of systems within capitalism, as you mentioned, and plenty of other systems that contain exploitation.
Yes.
Those systems can be improved, right? You
No.
can argue. You can argue that, for
Very
example,
good.
when it comes to systems where you're buying something and there's child labor down the line, you can argue that, well, that system doesn't need child labor. That system can exist without child labor. It can exist with fair laws in place.
You
can
can
exist
you
with
can
fair
agree- say that.
salaries
I
in
don't say
place.
that.
Yeah, well, you don't think they can exist. Well, I personally don't see any reason why any system cannot exist with fair labor in place. But if you think that it
No,
cannot
I think
exist,
there is a system there. I don't think capitalist. So what you're saying is that
Either way,
we
either way,
can solve
either way.
one exploitation without the other. I'm saying
Either
that's
way.
pure moralism.
Either way,
That's
either way.
not critical theory.
Either way,
It's
either
just
way. Please
guilting
let me
people.
finish. Please let me finish. Please let me finish. Either way.
It's Christian guilt.
Yeah, sure. It's Christian guilt. Okay, but let me finish, please. So first of all, the reason why it matters is because when a system contains exploitation, the improvement of the system cannot be done by you alone, right? That's not the
Absolutely.
fault that
Cannot
should be
be
placed
done
on
by you
consumer.
alone.
Very good.
But when a system depends on exploitation, that system can be done by you simply rejecting that system. Because when you reject
a
that
contradiction.
system, How is that a
If you
contradiction?
say if it doesn't depend just on me, the fact that I reject the system,
No, I say it depends on animal exploitation. If it depends on animal exploitation, you can reject that system, and therefore that system you're no longer supporting exploitation. When you reject a system that contains exploitation, the exploitation can still continue. Animal exploitation will only end if animal agriculture ends. That's it. It has nothing to do with capitalism or anything
Okay,
else.
here's
In any political system, in any economical
I
system,
think we're not-
animal agriculture will always exploit animals.
I agree with that. I think it's a larger discussion. We can agree to disagree.
Where do you
Let's go.
disagree with?
With the empty moralism of just guilting people and not
So
talking
where do you
about the
disagree
larger
with?
scope.
I completely.
Of the larger
I have
question.
one question. Okay, say you're right. Let's just say that. But then I always ask myself, like, how can we do things better? Like, in order to have agriculture, like, we need to have animals because
We don't.
of fertilizer.
No, we can fertilize
Absolutely.
using plants
We can't.
and plant-based. Oh yes, we can.
You
Come on. I
can.
mean, this is anti-scientific what
No,
you're
I'm
saying.
not
There's plenty of
saying
studies showing that we can.
I'm not saying that we can. I'm not.
You're just saying we cannot fertilize
Okay.
land without animals. Yes, we can.
Yeah, we can fertilize with chemicals.
Yeah, whatever. We can
Yes.
fertilize with all sorts of
We
reasons.
fertilize all the time
ways.
without animals,
Yeah.
right?
But then
But
we're
no,
destroying
but I'm
the
asking you a different question, which is, okay, so like another thing that we have is like this incredible exploitation of bees. So people take huge beehives.
Yeah. This is again, as I said, a
and
system
the
that has
bees-
exploitation.
The beehives collapse because the bees colonies collapse because for many reasons, but one reason is that there isn't enough food for them to when they're pollinating. So when we bring bees to pollinate,
We shouldn't do that.
but what should we do? Like,
There's several other methods. It's called veganic farming, vertical farming. There's other ways.
Yeah, but all those basically destroy the environment, which then
No, they don't.
destroys the animal.
Veganic farming and vertical farming actually help the environment.
No. So things like using chemicals in land. So when you say
Using
like
chemicals in land is
You know,
not
that's-
wrong.
we-
That's called chemophobia. Being
and-
afraid of chemicals is,
yeah,
is
and,
not
and I see what
correct.
happens in Brazil in in
Just because they use the
you
wrong chemicals doesn't mean that all the chemicals are wrong.
You know, that's the thing. You know, you
But
destroy the
how does that-
environment
let
and
me just
destroy
explain.
a bunch of
Wait, let me
environment.
just
Wait,
understand.
wait,
I want to
who are
understand.
you?
I want to understand. How
No.
does that justify you forcing animals into slaughterhouses?
I don't want to force animals into slaughterhouses.
Then you can just go vegan and never support animal
This is what
exploitation.
I try all the time.
Yeah.
I just want to tell you that I do try to do that, but that's
Yeah.
not my point.
So why is it that when that one time that when you don't do it, why do you think it's okay to not do it?
Okay, it's not about okay or not okay.
It is
Christian
because
view.
it is.
Okay.
It's about not
All right.
forcing animals into
All right,
slaughterhouses.
but I want to
isn't it?
know who
It's
are
about not exploiting
Can
animals.
I just ask you a
Christian
question? Who are you?
I introduced myself. I told you my name is Chip.
Right, I know, but then every time we bring something up, you're like, I'm an expert in this and I'm an expert in that.
I didn't say I'm an expert in anything. I said please fact check it. If you don't believe,
So-
I'm just
Or-
debunking what you're saying, and you can fact check it later, right? It's not
okay.
my
All right.
it's not my position to say that I'm right and you're wrong.
Oh, okay.
I could also be wrong. I'm just telling you please
Okay.
fact check what I'm
Oh,
saying.
okay, I see
That's
what
all
you're
I'm saying, right?
So
I'm
you're
not,
saying, I get it. All right.
Yeah.
All right. So right now, I'm gonna go have a sandwich.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for your.
Like, are you
time.
gonna exploit animals with that sandwich?
Probably.
Probably.
I don't
Because
know.
that's
So you
capitalism.
think cutting
Regardless
the
if
throat
it's-
of animals is okay because it's capitalism fault. It's not your fault that you're
No.
choosing to.
Wow, no, I don't.
You're choosing to force animals into
I
slaughterhouses
am
just
not
now.
forcing an animal.
You're
into
choosing
He
to
wants to
pay
guilt
for
you.
it.
I know he wants to guilt me.
We're
Do
gonna
you think you
disagree.
have no
Thanks, sir.
responsibility in it?
I
Yes.
You don't have
Exactly.
any responsibility. The products that you buy, the only reason why they do this to
Okay,
animals is
thank
because you
you.
buy it,
I know
because
it's
you demand it.
It's me.
Yeah,
But if
it's
you
you
look
demanding
at what I'm
it, yeah.
Wearing, you'll see that I'm
Yeah,
wearing
you're
all
demanding
vegan
it.
clothing.
No, but that's the thing.
You're demanding
I
it.
love that he
So-
began by saying like a single individual cannot make change and then guilt single
Yeah.
individuals.
Yeah.
No, I
That's
said
the contradiction.
that's in a
This is
system with
exactly-
exploitation versus a
this is
system
exactly
that is
why it
inherently
hasn't
dependent
worked.
on exploitation.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's okay. You don't get it. It's fine. Continue exploiting animals. Animal exploiters. Fucking people. That triggered me. Hello, everyone. God, I hate people sometimes. Whew. Hey, VVM. Welcome to the stream, everybody. We started on a high note. I started yelling at people. I started at showing how ridiculous some dumb-ass arguments are. Jackie Boyle, thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate you. Yeah, yeah, it's so funny, you know, that's the thing, because when you get these people who refuse to take responsibility for their own actions, they literally just blame everything else but their own actions, right? Like, well, it's capitalism's fault that people got raped. It's not my fault. It's not my fault that I paid for somebody to get raped. No, it's capitalism's fault. It's not my fault that animals get their throat cut. No, it's capitalism's fault. Sure, I pay for animals to get their throat cut, but it's capitalism's fault. It's not my fault. Well, it's not my fault that a system inherently dependent on exploitation that I support by paying for it when I don't actually need to pay for it, but it's not my fault. I make the choices, but it's somehow not my fault. Whew. Sorry, I had to vent. Yeah. Jeff Miller, you know what? People who are going to keep exploiting animals and are gonna dodge their responsibility are deserving of being yelled at. It's pretty simple. It's pretty simple. You can't be a shit person. You can't be a shit person, dodge your responsibility for being a shit person, and then say, well, you know, you're not allowed to yell. And I didn't yell at them. I yelled towards them. I didn't yell while they were next to me. But yeah, good start, huh? It's okay. I'll calm down. Sometimes people like that, yeah, they trigger me. Ridiculous people who cannot possibly take responsibility for their own actions. They don't let me talk, and they bring up the most ridiculous arguments, and they don't listen, because that's what they do. They're just looking to justify their own actions. They don't really care to learn the truth. That's the whole thing. Mattman, animals are needed for food. Please explain how animals are needed for food. And if animals are needed for food, then how have I survived? How have millions of other vegans survived if animals are needed for food? No animals were needed, so how have we survived so far? MRR, I'm a simp? Hey, thank you for that. I'd rather be a simp than be forcing animals into slaughterhouses. I'd just rather be that every day of the week. Sorry. I'd rather be in line with my values, and I personally respect animals, and I'd rather be in line with those values rather than, what? I don't even know what the opposition of simp is. Rather than you thinking you're an alpha or something, yeah. You're such a good person, bro. No, I'm not. Obviously, you see, I get triggered, I get annoyed, I make mistakes also. It's not about me being a good person, right? It's not about who's good or bad. It's about making the right choices, right? It's about learning. It's about questioning. It's about understanding. It's, you know, to some extent, if you understand your values, then I don't think you will ever have issues. But if you don't understand your values, then, yeah. John Lacombe says, I love hamburgers with cheese and mustard. John Lacombe, you know you could actually have those plant-based, and why would you do that, you ask? Well, it's pretty simple. For hamburgers are usually made out of dairy cows. You know what happens to dairy cows? They get forcefully impregnated every year. They have their babies taken from them, and then if their babies are born male, they get killed. That's just standard practice. And you know what? When dairy cows can no longer be impregnated, basically forcefully impregnated every year, because no body was made to be impregnated year over year, when they can no longer be impregnated, what they do is they kill them. And the meat that you're eating is coming out of animals who have suffered for years, animals who have been exploited for you. And, well, cheese is just another product of that. So basically, what you're saying is that I'm going to go around paying farmers to forcefully impregnate cows, to take away their babies, to kill their babies, and to do this repeatedly just so that I get what I want. Is that really what you want to say? Hey Ches, nice to see you here. We started off the discussions with a pretty intense conversation where I got a little bit triggered. But yeah, all good. We're a lot of activists today here, by the way. We are 1, 2, 3, 4, and me 5. So we're 5 activists in total today. Luke says he's just calling out hypocrisy. Where's the hypocrisy, Luke? Hypocrisy is if you say one thing, that your values are one thing, and you are not in line with your values. That's literally what hypocrisy is, right? Saying one thing but doing another. Jackie says, I got triggered now, I'm just watching. Yeah, Jackie, I get it. Hi.
The social experiment, what is it about?
Just ask people some questions.
Random questions.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I'm gonna put it through so everybody knows.
Yeah, okay. Luke asks me, do you care about life? No, Luke, I care about sentience.
Hey, what's up?
Hi. You want to try the social experiment?
Yeah.
Are you okay being live for my YouTube channel?
What?
Are you okay being live for my YouTube channel?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, what's your name?
I'm Freya.
Freya, nice to meet you. I'm Chip. So, Freya, what's your take on animals? How do you feel about animals?
Can I say something wrong?
Sure.
I
Just say how you feel. I don't know
I
if
think
it's
they're
right or wrong.
cute. I think they're cute.
They're cute. Okay. What if the animals are not cute? What do you think about them?
I'm scared of them.
Oh, scared of them. Okay, fair enough. But let me ask you, do you think animals deserve body autonomy? That literally means they get to decide what they want to do with their own body.
I don't know.
You don't know?
I don't have an opinion on that.
You don't have an opinion on that? So do you think that we should decide what animals do with their body?
I don't have an opinion.
Okay, so how do you feel about a person forcing dogs to do whatever he wants?
You can't force someone to do whatever they want.
Oh, yes, you can with power, right? We have power over animals, therefore we can force them to do whatever we want them to do,
Yeah, that's true.
right? So how do you feel about doing that to animals, forcing them to do whatever we want them?
I don't know.
You don't know? You don't have an opinion on that?
No, I don't.
Okay, let me ask you this then. How do you feel about exploiting animals?
What does that mean?
It means literally using them for whatever you want to use them for. Let me put it to some perspective, okay? So let's assume that I'm a dog farmer. And what I like to do is when the dog grows old, up 1 year old, what I do is I give them a painkiller and then I hang them by one leg and I punch them to death.
Yeah.
Would that be okay according to your own values?
No, of course not.
Why not?
I think I will stop this interview now.
Okay. Can I ask why?
I feel like it's too much brain stuff for me.
Oh, it's too much brain stuff for you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm literally just speaking on behalf of animals
Okay.
right here. I'm trying to get people to go vegan. Do you know what being vegan means?
Yeah, enjoy your day.
It means not exploiting animals. It means respecting animals. We're always gonna have people who run away. She's short on brain matter today. Yeah, Benji. But I thought, only vegans are short on brain matter or something. Some ridiculous argument that people bring up. It's Sunday, yeah. Yeah, it's okay, like some people think it's like a fun experiment. I guess it's more like a thought-provoking experiment. But that's okay, It will always be, yeah. David says, oh God, she was so afraid of being challenged. Yeah. Yeah, that's okay. There are people who are afraid of being challenged. But sadly, I think that's one of the worst parts about cancel culture, I was a big proponent of cancel culture for a long time because I thought, people not who say dumb stuff, but who stand for dumb stuff, who stand for injustices, they should not just be platformed or allowed to be platformed. But I sort of changed my mind in the meanwhile because, you see, then what that does is that people who make accidents and say accidentally they say the wrong stuff or something, then they end up being canceled or something, and people end up being afraid to being challenged. Like this just happened, right? So yeah. We don't. Yeah. See, there's. By the way, this is an example of somebody changing their mind on something, right? Like I used to think that it's cancel culture was okay. I no longer think it's okay. Just like that. I used to think animal agriculture is okay. It no longer is. I no longer think it's okay because I learned, I looked it up, and you just learn the consequences, the implications of it, and then you realize it's good or bad, right? That's kind of what I'm asking everybody here who's watching to do. Think for yourself. Look it up. Ask yourself, is this something you really want to be part of? It's as easy as that. She seemed like she was practicing speaking English. Maybe, I don't know. No, again, I just think she was afraid to be challenged, and that's okay. Some people are like that. But there's already everybody who... You guys want to try a social experiment? Everybody who has the same side as me. You look vegan, says somebody. Thank you. That's a compliment. That means I look like a compassionate, smart individual. Thank you for that. Because being vegan means having compassion and being intelligent enough to challenge the perspectives that you've been told your whole life. So yes, thank you for that. Hi. You want to try the social experiment?
What are we going to do?
I just ask you some questions, that's it.
Okay.
Are you okay being live for my YouTube channel?
Yeah.
What's your name?
Maria.
Maria, nice to meet you. Can you come a little bit closer so that you're in view? Nice. Okay, so Maria, how do you feel about animals?
I love them.
You love them?
Yes.
Okay. Do you think animals are worthy of moral consideration?
Yes, definitely.
What makes them worthy of moral consideration?
Because they're clever. They give you so much love. They're just beautiful animals.
What if they don't give you love?
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter, right? Yeah. Do you think that, for example, would it be okay to exploit animals?
No.
No. What if you get benefit from exploiting them?
It's a difficult one because it depends what benefits. If it's
Yeah.
a cure for Alzheimer's, then maybe. But if it's just for
Let's say
makeup, then
optional
no.
benefits.
I don't know. I don't know.
You don't know?
If it's a cure like Alzheimer's.
No, but I'm saying optional benefits. So even if it's a cure for Alzheimer's, there might be another cure for Alzheimer's. So optional means literally it's just benefits that you could also get it from other
No.
places,
If you
but
get
you
it from
choose
the-
to exploit animals
No.
for that.
If you can
No.
get it from somewhere else, and get it from somewhere else.
Okay, then
Yeah.
that would be wrong. Right,
Yeah.
I appreciate that. Okay. Do you think that do you think that it's important that we as individuals not engage in animal exploitation?
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Okay, I appreciate that. And my final question, I'm not going to judge you because I used to be part of it too, Do you think that when we pay for animal products, we support a system that literally just depends on animal exploitation?
Probably, yeah.
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 Do
I
you-
think we do it without realising.
Yeah, it's
we
true.
do it.
It's true.
Yeah.
So how do you feel about it? Do you feel like, because I know that your values say that it's wrong to exploit animals. I'm assuming you do consume some animal products, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so do you think that it's important then that you stop consuming animal products given that we have so many alternatives today?
I think it's difficult. It's a difficult one to say because, it might be health, you might need to be eating certain things. But
Let's
I
assume
think if
that,
there's
let's
a way-
start on the premise that you can get all the health that you need on a plant-based diet.
Yeah, then yeah,
Yeah.
I would, yeah.
Yeah, then you would?
Yeah.
Okay. So is there anything holding you back from saying, today I'm never going to be exploiting animals again?
Probably maybe it's expensive sometimes.
Yeah.
It's quite expensive to eat a lot of plant-based stuff, but I do eat a lot more plant-based stuff than I do meat stuff anyway, so maybe one day I'll be...
Yeah, that's awesome that you're already considering it
Yeah.
and you're already going in that direction. But do you think that when because every time we buy an animal product, one animal does get exploited for us,
Yeah.
right? So if down the line, let's say in a couple of months we become vegan, let's say, right?
Yeah.
Throughout that process, some animals will be exploited while we already know that we don't want to be part of that.
Yeah.
While we already know that they shouldn't be exploited
Yeah.
for us, right? So do you think it's fair towards them that we do it this way? When we could theoretically switch just like that.
I think if everybody could switch, then it'd be better.
Yeah.
But then you've got to think of the other side with all the farmers would lose their jobs. And
Well, not from you, right? Our farmers will lose their job if everybody does it at the same time.
yeah. If everybody does it eventually, then
Yeah.
that whole part of society will go. But I think there can be a better way to eat meat products. I think if the animals could be treated a bit better.
But do you think then taking their life for something you don't
Yeah,
need is
it's-
still not exploitative?
Yeah, it's a difficult one. It's
Yeah,
a difficult
and also,
one.
like, let me ask you this: do you think that in animal agriculture, animals just breed on their own, or do you think we control the breeding?
We control the breeding.
And don't you think that's already exploitative
yeah.
alone? That's like sexual exploitation,
Yeah.
right? Because we tell them when to get pregnant, when not to get pregnant. Yeah.
Well, I don't drink milk, so
Yeah.
I don't have anything with milk. I don't drink
Yeah.
have butter, so I'm, I'm not all the way there,
Yeah.
but I'm part of the way there. So I think I'm
Okay.
doing a little bit. I'm not probably doing enough. But
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I appreciate you like being so open towards it, and I don't get to meet a lot of open people, so I appreciate when I see people like that. It's just that what I want to emphasize is that, do you think that for the animals it's important that not just our values but also our actions are in line with
Yes.
that?
Yeah.
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 Do you know what being vegan, by the way, means? 'Cause
Yeah.
I mentioned it. What do you think it means?
I mean, it's not eating any animal byproducts, any animal products, but also not wearing any animal products.
Yeah.
So eliminated anything.
Yeah, yeah. So being vegan literally just means being against the exploitation of
Yeah,
animals,
yeah.
and as a consequence, of course, we don't eat animals, we don't wear their skin, we don't go to places where they exploit animals, and we try to do it as much as it's possible and practicable,
Yeah.
right? So in that sense, if you're in a life or death scenario and you would have to kill an animal to survive,
Yeah.
you could still theoretically be vegan
Yeah.
because you would be in a situation where you would
Got no choice.
yeah, you got no other choice,
Yeah.
right? But the whole point is that maybe in our day-to-day lives we do have choices,
Yeah.
and we just should be choosing those
Yeah.
choices, right? Okay. How about this? I give you some resources to help you out with this. You look a little bit more into it and make better choices. Do you think it's important that no more animals? Let me ask you this: how many more animals should be exploited for you before you make a change?
Shouldn't be any.
Any? Yeah.
I just think it's just sometimes it's just a bit difficult.
I get it. Yeah.
Say
Yeah.
something, but
Yeah.
it's
Sometimes the best things in life are a bit more difficult,
Yeah.
and the right thing to do is sometimes a little bit more difficult. But
Yeah.
if I can tell you that it seems difficult because you're on that
Yeah.
side,
I
but
think
once you
sometimes
cross
it's
it,
little
it's
steps
easy.
as well. Sometimes you say little steps every week or every month and get where you need to be. I've got tickets. I've got. to
Yeah,
go
let
to
me just. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, you're right. Let me just give you a card.
Okay.
One thing that I think would help you out there, it's a thing called Challenge 22.
Yeah.
They hook you up with a nutritionist, send you recipes every day. They help you go vegan. It's all
Okay.
free.
Okay.
Okay. And maybe watch
Thank
one of
you.
those videos. The most
Yeah.
important speech you'll ever hear. It's a good one.
Thank
Okay.
you. Nice to
okay.
meet
Thank
you.
you. Have a good one. It's nice to hear that there's a lot of people who are already making changes in that direction, right? And all we can do is try to get them a little bit further. Yeah, Miggles the Gidget. I like her. She was a nice woman. Yeah, I didn't want to push her too much. I think like her morals were on point. She kind of understood it. So, what more can we do other than make them understand, have a conversation with them, try to push them a little bit? That's all we can do, right? I feel like if we push too much, sometimes it can also backfire, and I don't want that to happen. So yeah. Some people are hard to read, says Ali. Yeah. Hey Chip, just got the end of that conversation. At least she's not consuming some dairy. It's a start. The LTN, yeah, I wanted to ask her because she said she doesn't drink milk. She didn't say she doesn't consume dairy, huh? She might be consuming cheese and stuff. A lot of people don't really connect cheese with cows anymore, like what happens to cows and stuff. Miggles said it's Miggles the Gidget. I hope I'm pronouncing your username correctly. Says it's easier to start small. I don't know. I don't find that to be necessarily true. But I know that it's good to start somewhere, you know. Starting somewhere is better than starting not at all.
Hey, you're also doing a social experiment?
Hey, look at that. Yes, I'm also doing a social experiment.
What?
What's your social experiment about?
It's about antinatalism.
Antinatalism. Okay, yeah.
You should not have children.
I should not have children.
No.
Don't you have like a baby?
I think like we should not have people on this planet anymore.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. Fair enough.
I'm just bullshitting.
I had a shitty conversation with the person at first, so if you would have asked me after that, I would have said, fuck those people. Yeah.
yeah.
But now it's good. It's good.
Yeah, it's quiet, huh?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you get some people, some... Ciao, Vittoria. You guys already know Lodewijk?
Yeah, actually, I was on the channel last time. So cool.
His name is
This guy's
Lodewijk,
nice.
Lobo.
Oh yeah, I am nice. Thank you. I try to be at least.
Yeah.
No,
You guys want to try a social experiment?
give it a shot.
You want to do it?
Yeah, sure. Hello. Hey, what's your name?
Daniel
Daniel.
Troncoso.
Where are you from?
Chile.
Chile. Oh, nice.
And you? You're from here?
I'm from Amsterdam. Yeah.
Nice.
I'm Dutch.
That's great.
Yeah. So I have a sign here, and I'm gonna turn it around, and I really would like to have your opinion. Who would you choose? It says. Who would you choose?
In what context?
Well, let's say there is you.
I'm driving a car.
Let's say you are driving a car. Eh?
I will choose the dog.
The dog. Yeah.
Yeah, companions animals.
Yeah. And why not the pig?
Basically, because I feel more comfortable with dogs and like closest to dogs rather than pigs. Basically that.
And do you think it's a rational decision, or is it more like an emotional?
No, it's
choice?
more than cultural, right? Like
Cultural, yeah.
yeah, because I have dogs. I have been with dogs like all my life.
Yeah. Oh, nice.
But I'm from farms, so in my farm, when you are on a farm,
yeah.
chicken and pigs are other kind of
They're
animals,
food,
right?
yeah. Yeah. And how do you treat your dogs? Like, are you nice to your dog?
Yeah,
Yeah?
yeah. It's one on the family, right? Like
Family. Wow. So, like, can you give an example of what you would do for your dog?
well, it's kind of any other part of family. So health, food,
Yeah.
comfort.
Comfort also, yeah.
Yeah, like live in the house and all the stuff.
Yeah,
So-
yeah. Let's say your dog has hurt his leg. Would you go to the vet? And
Obviously.
obviously, yeah.
Yeah, but probably if I have a pig,
Yeah.
we'll do the same.
Also, yeah. And but you also take care of, like, let's say that they have fun in their life. Like, do you take them?
Yeah, to the park and play with him, spend
Great.
time.
Nice. So you really feel, for your dogs, and you really want them to be comfortable and healthy and so
Yeah,
on.
I have a dog and he works with me. He
Yeah,
travels
yeah.
with me every day to the office.
But you have a farm also, you say, yeah?
My parents have.
Parent, yeah. And what about those pigs? How are they treated?
Yeah, well, they live outside, but they are really well. Like
Yeah.
we had time ago pigs. We have today chickens, for example, and they have their own space. They can be free. We play with them also. They have toys to interact
Nice,
with.
nice.
Yeah, like
Nice,
the
nice.
mirrors and all the stuff
Oh,
for
wow.
chickens.
It seems like you really care about animals.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, you seem like an animal person. But then, what happens? Do these animals get killed also at some point?
yeah, at some point.
Yeah.
Sometimes the dog gets ill, for example, and
The dog, yeah.
you don't have like the difference with other part of family is you don't have you have a top of money to spend on that. So if it's a cancer, you're not gonna trade the dog, right?
Yeah,
Like are 2 years to 3 years. So you basically you are able to decide to kill him, right?
Yeah.
Like, because any kind of animal in the ethical society is or propriety finally, and I don't know if that is good or bad, but it's own,
Yeah,
right?
But you're wondering if it's good or bad, yeah?
Yeah, of course,
Yeah.
because it's another life, right? But if we do this kind of comparison, we should do it with insect, for example.
Insect also, yeah. Do you think all these life forms are on the same level? that they-
Animals are in the same level for
okay.
biology.
Okay, cool. So, like, when you find, let's say, a spider or so in your home, do you, instead
We-
of squashing it, you take it outside?
Exactly.
Oh, you're really a nice animal person. huh?
Obviously, if you have
That's cool.
sometimes with my my couple, we find some spider venomous, like poisonous,
Yeah.
and you kill it because it's in your space. It's kind of the
Okay,
same.
yeah.
But if you have the time to don't do it, to
Yeah.
try to Everything. Yeah.
And would you do you bring those pigs also to the slaughter and those chickens that you have for to the slaughterhouse?
What is that?
Like to kill them for food,
No.
basically.
No,
No,
if we're gonna do it, with my family performs that.
Oh, you
right?
you
No,
kill
yeah.
it yourself, yeah.
Yeah, that's the ethical
And
process. to
That's
do it.
ethical, yeah. And how
Yeah.
that is for food?
Mostly.
Yeah, yeah. And would you say that you would do this to dogs as well? Like, would that be?
For example, when one of my dogs get injured for some neighbor car, we choose to sleep him. And
Yeah, yeah.
I
Put
I
them
put
out of
the
their misery, yeah.
yeah, and I put
Sure.
the so yes.
Okay, but that is for a different reason, right? Like you can kill your dog because they are suffering and you want to put them out of their misery. It's basically you're doing maybe even what is best for the dog at that point, right?
Yeah.
But when you bring an animal to, well, not you don't bring them to slaughter, but let's say when you kill a pig, is that in the best interest of the pig if you want to eat them?
In our case, yes, because the other option is too big, so we are not able to keep it. So
Okay.
give it to other places is, but I will
but
go
did you
deeper.
buy it with the intent of killing it?
No, we receive it.
receive it?
Yeah, we are from town, so sometimes neighbors have pigs that they are
Okay.
gonna kill baby pigs. So I prefer to kill adult pigs.
Okay. And when you're here in Amsterdam, do you eat vegan food?
No,
No,
I'm
no.
not vegan.
You're not
No.
vegan, no. But like when you, let's say, have you eaten today already some food? Like,
Yeah, yeah.
what did you have for lunch?
Yeah, in the breakfast they have eggs,
Eggs, yeah.
bacon,
Bacon. Yeah.
and yeah, bread and all tea and all the
Yeah.
other stuff. Like.
And so the bacon came from the Netherlands, probably, yeah? Do you know how pigs are treated here in the Netherlands?
No idea.
Can I tell you? Do you want to
Yeah,
know?
please.
Okay, so pigs in the Netherlands, they have about a square meter per pig. So
Yeah.
that's a very tight space.
It's awful.
They live about 6 months. They are fattened up for 6 months, and then they are brought to the slaughterhouse. In those 6 months, most of these pigs they never even get to go outside. They just stand in the farm where they have a square meter, and after those 6 months, they are brought to a slaughterhouse where they will be gassed. So they lower them in CO2. And it takes about 3 minutes or so before they actually drown in the CO2
Awful.
gas. So the bacon that you ate this morning is an animal that went through that process. Would you say that you
No.
being an animal person, does that sit well with you?
Yeah. No, it's disgusting, right?
Disgusting, yeah, yeah.
We are traveling, so you don't ask to. Sometimes you need to. That's my opinion. You need to just don't think on all that. But I'm not able to change it.
You're not able to change it.
Yeah, probably you too. You are. So.
But maybe you are able to change it, don't you think? Like,
No, because-
let's say we have a conversation, yeah, and I tell you like, hey, Amsterdam is actually the number 4 most vegan place on the planet for eating vegan food, according to one study, Happy Cow actually. And there's all these vegan restaurants here, and you can go and try them. And you will find out, like when you try them, you will go like, hey, this food tastes really great, and it's nutritious and healthy.
Yeah, but
And you can find out that you don't need to participate in this cruelty.
But
that
you know how to do the vegan food? How to trade the vegetables? Like pesticides, like all the modification of land to keep away
is-
the birds and the rabbits and all the other ecosystems, right?
Yeah, yeah.
It's kind of same of torture.
Do you
but
think it's the same? Yeah.
no, it's not the same. It's not the same because the other is worse because you have in a jail the animal, right?
Of course, yeah.
But in the other, you kill like all right? Like
So no, but it's not the same, right? Like even
but
for
both are
so what do
Well,
what do pigs eat? Like for example, this pig in the Netherlands.
cereals probably.
Yeah, so this is also a plant, right?
Yeah,
If you're gonna look at
worse.
like so one is not the same as the other. In one,
But then the question is how you produce the vegan food. Is
yeah,
how the restaurant use they bought vegetables, local vegetables from local farmers that have been grown, or they bought I don't know some vegan factories because you know how they do the other kind of vegan food, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So
I'm not saying
and
there is
then,
okay. Go ahead.
sorry,
go ahead.
sorry.
I know I'm interrupting. Go
no,
ahead.
the pigs issue, if you stop it, you stop. Probably they are not gonna stop the production, right? They are just gonna throw out the meat to the garbage because you have a system. You need to change the process.
Yeah.
How you treat the animal or how you treat the vegetable is the same. We need to be encouraged in our own process of production and how we produce our food. And I think that that's my fight, rather to, I will choose from now. I'm gonna look away all the vegetarian places to eat that and try it. But finally, my fight is with me and my land and how I produce the most food that I can produce, right? Like,
Yeah. But let's talk about your bacon in the morning, right? That bacon includes an animal that it's actually a very intelligent animal. Like pigs
yeah.
are very intelligent, right?
Absolutely, yes.
Even more intelligent than dogs. And we treat them horrendously in the Netherlands. I could show you some footage here of how they
No,
are
I
treated.
believe you. I'm from
Horrendous.
Chile. It's
Yeah.
kind of the same.
Yeah, it's probably very much the same. Yeah. These animals, they need to be fattened up. So we actually produce plants, even more plants, to feed them.
Yeah.
So by eating this bacon, you're eating more plants than by just eating plants, because the conversion rate of the amount of plants that you put in is not exactly the same amount that you get
Yeah,
out, like in terms of
absolutely.
calories, right? It's like I don't know exactly what the numbers are, but it's pretty
Yeah.
bad. Like you have an animal that is living and breathing and thinking, and all that is not necessary for the animal to produce just the meat that we're going to use. Yeah. So yes, you're absolutely right. It's not perfect, right? Even if I eat some cereals, even if I go to a vegan restaurant, it's not going to be perfect. But it's going to be a lot better. There's not going to be an intent to harm animals. Of course, animals may get harmed in the process of farming, and this happens, right? But we're not going out there and actually hurting animals just because we want their meat, which is not a necessity for us, right? So one is a lot better than the other, wouldn't you say, as an animal person?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So instead of telling me like, hey, I'm not gonna change and so on, like, why not give it a shot? Why not try it? You're in Amsterdam, you're exploring the world, right?
I will try.
You're opening yourself up to new possibilities. Now you met this interesting vegan guy on the street, right? And he's telling you, hey, you are an animal person, I'm also an animal person. And we can do a lot better for the animals than to just eat bacon for breakfast. I know bacon tastes good, but there's also very tasty
The
vegan
question
foods.
is how you stop the machinery of production.
Okay, let me
Right.
tell you about that. So first of all, you talk about, like, let's say I don't eat that bacon. They're gonna produce the bacon anyway, and then they're gonna throw it away. Maybe on a very small scale that is true, but when you look at the bigger picture, it's like, how are we going to stop this machinery, right? Well, first of all, like, the machinery runs because we're putting our money in it, right? If we're not gonna put our money there, then they're not gonna produce it, And that is also something that you can see in the stats. So look at, for example, Germany. The amount of pig meat is going down as the amount of vegans is going up. So it's very
But
clear.
the
like,
production
why-
keeps at the same.
No, absolutely not.
Animal production keeps on the
No,
same.
no. Production absolutely is
Even the-
is either rising or declining, and that all depends on the economy. It's supply and demand.
It's like
We're not
taking
gonna
care
produce.
of water by showering less time. You are not
No,
affecting. Finally,
listen.
the industry is how it's produced. You need to change rules.
Supply and demand. Have you heard of supply and demand?
Yes.
Right. I mean, let's say that everybody here is going to stop eating meat, yeah? We're not gonna pay farmers anymore to do their work. Are farmers just going to continue doing it? Do you think that farmers kill animals
And
just
what they
because
gonna
for
do?
the fun of it, or and then just to throw it away?
But it's not farming. It's not the farmer, right? It's the industry who processes the animal. It's
and
not
why,
the same.
how does this industry
Have
exist completely separately
constellations.
from capitalism?
No, it's the same. That you need to
Do you-
stop capitalism.
No, you don't need to stop capitalism. You need to stop funding those organizations that are doing this, right? Like,
Yeah.
why does a slaughterhouse worker go to the slaughterhouse? He goes
yeah,
there
that's the
because he's
question.
trying to make a living, right?
Yeah.
And who pays the slaughterhouse worker? Well, the slaughterhouse does. And who pays the slaughterhouse? Well, the farmers do, you know, and the producers of the meat do. And why do they, where do they get their money? Well, they get it from us. So if we're not gonna pay them,
If you don't pay, you export, and China is gonna keep buying.
but there's going to be one less person who is funding this. Like
Yeah.
you're actively,
No.
you're an animal person, and by eating that bacon, you are actively participating in the cruelty of animals.
Yes.
While you can take that same money and put it into some type of plant-based food, and that would be much better for the
Yeah, I will
animals.
try it, but it's probably.
Great, that's all I'm asking.
Yeah, but it's gonna be more expensive, right?
No, it isn't. No.
You say no? I
No.
will.
You want to see a study? I can
Yeah,
show you.
yeah, please.
Yeah.
Yeah, because in Chile is cheaper to buy some meat rather than vegetarian food. Like
Here in the
prepared.
Netherlands, it isn't.
Amazing.
Facts. Here we go. Cheapest foods. Oh. Here are the top 10 cheapest sources of protein with at least 20% protein.
Buena.
And here's
Amazing.
which ones are all vegan, right? You can see that out of the top 10, only one is not vegan.
Yeah,
Right?
but
This is in the
are not-
Netherlands, in the Albert Heijn, the supermarket.
That are ingredients, right? Not restaurants, right? Yeah, I would like to see the plate because I will pay 25 euros
It's
for
the
a
same.
vegan.
No, it's the same. It's the same. You can go there. There's a shop there, not the hot dog, but behind there you can get
Okay.
their hot dogs, right? You can get a veggie hot dog there for €9.50. The normal hot dog is also the same price.
Okay,
You want to
amazing.
try it?
Yeah, I will.
Yeah.
I will
I'll
go
buy you
after
one.
that.
You know, you can go on camera and
No,
you eat
no,
the thing.
we're okay.
No?
No.
Just give it a shot. Like
Yeah, I
open
will
your
do it.
mind. You know.
Yeah.
Have
I'm conscious.
How much time did you think about this today? Maybe even more than you did in the rest of your life, right? Like.
No,
No?
I have. I was vegan for a few years. Yeah,
You
yeah,
were
yeah,
vegan?
Yeah. I
Okay.
came back. Yeah, because
So
I'm
you-
like I have this disillusion with the system.
Okay.
It's not changing in my country.
Well, are you going to try some vegan food afterwards?
Yes.
Awesome. Well, it was a very nice conversation.
Yeah.
Cool.
Have a good day.
Yeah. Bye bye.
Bye.
Open your mind, man.
How was that?
Yeah, that was good.
Was good?
Yeah, it was a bit tough sometimes because, like, yeah, there's like.
I heard a lot of nonsense.
Yeah, like
heard it.
that's tough. But in the end, like, he wanted to open his mind, and I pushed him a little bit. But
Yeah, I know your method. I'm like, when somebody tells me that he used to be vegan, but he's no longer vegan because what he said, the system in his country, I'm like, okay, so you have a problem with the system, so if you can't beat it, join it. Is that what you're saying?
yeah, it's weird. Like,
Right?
yeah, like if I'm not gonna eat it, they're just gonna produce it and throw it away. Like what? Or they're just gonna export it. Like I don't understand. Like, do people truly not understand this? Like, it's
I
not
mean,
very hard, right?
There isn't. It's not like it's completely untrue what he's saying,
Of
but
course
it's
not.
also not completely true. Like it's a little bit more complex than that.
It's very complex.
But definitely, consumer behavior drives demand, right? So if consumers wanna demand more plant-based products, then that will drive demand for more plant-based products and less for animal-based products. And what farmers will do, will they want to export or not? But I saw this thing recently that most farmers especially in Netherlands, a lot of them actually just want to get out of it. They just don't want to farm any more animals. So like, Okay, well, the problem is that the new government stopped the funding of the changes for farmers. So.
Yeah, I saw a graph of the amount of farms in the Netherlands and the amount of animals, and the amount of farms is just plummeting.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, but the
Hell
amount of
yeah.
animals is still going up actually.
Oh shit.
And yeah, and it's just because well,
So more,
demand,
more so it's
basically,
more
yeah.
factory farming basically.
It's
That's
more
what
factory. Yeah, it's for the last 20 years. It's totally going down, like the amount of farms, and it's not popular also anymore to do farming. So
Yeah.
like people don't want to do farming, you know. Yeah. So it's like that. But and even if like the supply and demand thing truly is a very complex thing. I mean, it's economy, right? So
Yeah.
even the economists have a hard time figuring it out.
It is, yeah.
But in the end,
especially when
it's-
it comes to subsidies and shit, right?
Yeah. So it's not gonna be like, yeah, like if I don't buy the bacon, then one pig will be saved. You know, it's definitely not that easy. But you also have to think about like, you know, what are you funding? You know,
Yeah.
like
yeah.
where, like you're.
What are you like? Where are you choosing to spend your money, right? Like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm saying this is unethical, but I'm just gonna choose to spend my money there. How does that work? Like, okay, you can't fix the system, whatever, but you can choose to make the best choices within the system still, right? Like, it's
Exactly.
not.
Yeah. You're voting with your
Yeah.
with your money.
Yeah.
It's like somebody saying like, yeah, if I put my vote here, this person is not gonna win. You know, like the party is not gonna win just because I put my vote there. No, sorry, that doesn't work that way. No,
No.
sure not.
No.
But like, think about who you're funding and what you're funding.
Yeah. Think about what you're supporting, huh?
Anyway. this
Oh
is-
yeah, plug your channel.
Oh yeah, Vegan Future.
Yeah, Vegan Future. Follow him on Vegan
yeah,
Future.
I'm gonna post it at some point. Yeah.
Nice,
We're
nice.
gonna have our first video out soon.
Nice.
Okay, bye bye.
Ciao, bye. I perhaps should have gone to the bathroom in the meanwhile, but I sat and listened to the conversation. I think I subbed to him, says 6. Nice. I mean, you know, he has a different approach than me. You know, I like to go down the whole thing for people. He has this thing where he wants people to get to try more vegan, and if they try more vegan, he thinks that people will inherently have a better opinion on it. I mean, sure, that's a good one, I guess. I mean, that's the thing, right? That's the beautiful thing about it. We need all types of activism, not just one. So, if you think that one works better than this one, do that one. If you think this one works better than that one, do this one. We have no shortage of activism needs. So we have no shortage of people needing to speak up for animals. The government of Amsterdam has eliminated stray dogs and has all kinds of legislation to do so, yet there's still homeless people who should come first, in my opinion. Okay. What does that have to do with anything? I don't know. Do you want my opinion on that? I think any type of homeless, stray people, animals should be taken care of. And I don't mean like in a taken care of, but like in actually taken care of. Animals always had the right to live free from exploitations. We just took it away from them. That's exactly a very well put. Keisha, hey, nice to see you here. You guys want to try a social experiment? Okay, are you okay being live for my YouTube channel?
I guess so.
What's your name?
Kelly.
Nice to meet you, Kelly. I'm Chip. Okay, so Kelly, I'm just going to turn this around and you tell me what you think. It says animal abuse should be legal.
No,
Why not?
because I mean, what kind of human being does that? That's awful. Why
I'm assuming you're against animal abuse.
Of course,
Why is it wrong to abuse animals?
because they're defenseless, and you know, why
Obvi-
would you want to hurt an animal?
Maybe you get some benefit from it.
No,
No?
no,
No, so it's still wrong, even if you get benefit from it.
100%.
Okay. How would you define abuse?
Oh, that's an interesting question. Just treating a being poorly.
Poorly.
Yeah.
You got to go more with that because poorly
Okay.
it's still subjective, right?
Treating, I mean, yeah, against the will of the creature.
Okay, I
Yeah.
appreciate that. So if you're treating them against their will, that is somehow abusive. Yeah, I appreciate that. That's a good one. So it's wrong to abuse cats or dogs. What about cows, chickens, pigs?
Yeah,
Is it wrong to abuse them?
yeah. Absolutely.
Do you think that in animal agriculture, animals are inherently abused?
I guess it depends on
Well, let's
you
put
know?
it this way. According to your own definition of abuse, which says treating them against their will, do you think animals in animal agriculture, do you think animals want to be farmed, first of all?
I mean, I think it depends on what they're being farmed for. So like a cow being farmed for milk is a very different situation to like battery farm chickens, for example,
But let's go down that right? A cow farm for milk. Why do you think a cow produces milk?
to feed its babies.
Yeah. So do you think that a cow, do you think cows are allowed to decide when they want to go pregnant, or do you think that farmers decide for them when they go pregnant?
I mean, I guess in that instance, the farmers decide for them.
Yeah. So that's true, right? So that already is, if you ask me, sexual abuse, right? Because they forcefully impregnate them. Like they have this giant glove they put on their hand. They put their hand in their anus. They hold their cervix and inject bull semen in their vagina. That's pretty standard practice. And when the babies are born, what do you think happens to them?
They're taken away from their moms.
Yeah. Is that not abusive?
Yeah, it's pretty abusive.
Yeah. And if the baby is born male, they don't produce milk. So what happens to them?
Oh, I don't know.
They get killed.
Oh, that's awful.
Yeah. And the female, same fate as their mother, year over year, forceful
I
impregnation.
didn't know this was going to take a while. but we
Well,
can
just
take
2 minutes. 2
one.
minutes. Just 2
We
minutes,
actually
okay?
do have to go.
Just
though.
2 minutes, okay?
Okay.
So, and when they can no longer be forcibly impregnated, they get killed, and that usually happens around 6 years, and they can live up to 24 years, so 25% of their lifespan. But my question to you is, do you think you can be against animal abuse if you consume animal products which support animal abuse?
I mean, I guess, I don't know, that's a pretty grey area depending on how you view it, because if you compartmentalize eating meat, then, you know.
But do you think from the perspective of the individuals being abused, the animals, do you think it's gray or do you think it's black and white for them?
Well, no, I think it's obviously not great for them. So.
Yeah.
Anyway, I really do have to
Can I give you a
go.
card to look more into it?
Okay, sure. Right.
Well, only if you promise me to look into it, because otherwise I don't want to waste the card for nothing.
Okay, I'll look into it.
Okay.
Alright,
Please just watch the Minion or the most important speech you'll ever hear, okay?
will do.
Okay, thank you. Have a good one. Thank you. We have a lot of runners today, huh? Ah, damn it, we have the Christians today. Done subs you host. I don't know what that means, but okay. Nice channel, says. Oh, okay, thank you. I hope you're subscribing. And everybody else, if you're enjoying the conversations, please like and subscribe. That they mean something to me. And to sending the message more across, right? Like the more people subscribe, the more the message gets sent. You never know where it reaches, right? Hi, Davey. Nice to see you here. No need to respond. I don't know what you ask, Javier. I only see like 5 messages and they struggle sometimes. How can you even bring yourself to be an animal abuse advocate when humans are in the same vicinity struggling? What exactly do you mean? I'm an animal rights activist. I fight for animal rights. What does that have to do with anything else? What you're saying is that we shouldn't be fighting for animal rights. We should say, fuck that, let's fight for human rights? Is that what you're saying? Going back to Gary Yourofsky is always the best way to. Yeah, it's Mr. Lowe. That's a good idea. So if you're saying that we should be fighting for human rights, well, you know what? There's a difference there, right? First of all, humans have a voice of their own. There's plenty of people fighting for human rights, and I myself also do that sometimes. It's just that doesn't negate the fact that we still need to fight for animal rights. That doesn't negate the fact that, look at this individual, Cameron Ferguson, in the chat. Whenever he hears about animal rights, he types, "I love meat." And Benji, please stop silencing people who will just say that. I don't think he said anything wrong. So when a person like that just says, "I love meat," like, what can you tell them? They literally see animals like objects. They literally see them as things that they can exploit and take their life just because they can, just because they've been doing it for a while, just because they've been taught their whole life that that's the way to go, that's the way to do it. Therefore, it should somehow be okay. And this is a very big issue. And I would say it's a big issue with not just the way we see animals, but the way we think about individuals who we deem as lesser than us. Because that's the reality, right? We deem animals as lesser than us, and therefore we justify doing whatever we want to them because we see them as lesser than us, which is fucked up. And that's a problem that's inherent also in human rights, right? It's a problem that is, it's a problem of behavior, of it's a weird problem. I don't know how to say it, but I believe that animal rights, somebody who cares about animal rights, let's put it this way, somebody who cares about animal rights will also care about human rights. That's my point. Javier says, then go help black people. So Javier, again, I'm an animal rights activist. There's plenty of issues in the world. There's plenty of people fighting for issues. If you think there's another issue more important, please go and fight for that, right? Like, imagine me sitting here and fighting for women's rights, and you coming here and telling me that, wait, there's other individuals who have less rights. You should be fighting for that. Like, okay, if your opinion is that time should be spent fighting for a different cause, then you should spend your time fighting for that cause. Isn't that what you should be doing? You guys want to try a social experiment? So, but yeah, that's usually the people who do this sort of who make these sort of arguments that you shouldn't be fighting for animals, you should be fighting for humans, are usually the people who they themselves don't actually fight for anybody. Because when you fight for somebody, when you do activism, you realize just how important all forms of activism are. That's the reality. I started doing activism by doing environmental activism, by joining environmental groups, by going to protest, by doing this kind of stuff, and I realized just how important activism is. And then when I started doing animal rights activism, I realized that, hey, this is where I need to be. This is where I need to spend my energy. I think this touches upon so many things in society that any person that you're speaking to, any individual that you're trying to show a different perspective, might have their minds changed in a way that will just get the world to be a better place for everybody, including for those people whose rights are stolen. And yeah, also people have a choice to do what they want, yeah. Javier, if you say that I make claims that make zero sense, you need to back that up and tell me which claims that I made that make zero sense. Otherwise, I cannot justify and explain the claims that I made, that to you, they have made no sense. Aloha Aficionado says gay. Thank you, Aloha Aficionado. I will take that also as a compliment, because being gay is fucking awesome. Respecting your sexual identity is fucking awesome. That's what it is. Living up to whatever, like being brave enough to follow your sexual identity, who you're attracted to, in a world where everybody like you, that person, is bigoted towards something that you were born with, is insane, you know? Like, I don't know if I'm brave enough to do that. I'm bi myself, but you know, I would say I'm maybe bi-curious than bi itself, because I haven't actually been with a man. So, there you go. But I'm curious. So, yeah, I'm just saying, stop hating on people for who they are. And respect everybody. Everybody is worthy of respect and moral consideration. As long as you're sentient, as long as you have thoughts, as long as you have feelings, you deserve moral consideration. You deserve to exist on your own terms. Wayne Schultz says animals eat their own shit. Wayne Schultz, well, who cares? So what? There's animals who do that. So what? I'm assuming that if you found out that your shit would be tremendously healthy for you, you would also do it. Why would it matter? And also, who cares? That's such a nonsensical, like, I don't care. Like, that's such a, oh, what? You do that? No, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's just a societal thing to think it's weird to eat your own shit. If eating your own shit would yield good results, everybody should do it. It's as easy as that. Pro-human rights, pro-animal rights, exactly. Thank you, Subu Duba. It doesn't though, says Wayne. Well, for the animals that do it, it does. That's why they do it, you know? Wayne Schultz, yes, it's not good for you. No, humans cannot eat their own shit, it's true. Well, they can, but does nothing. It actually may be detrimental. So you shouldn't do it. But there's the animals that do it are animals who, when they do it, it's probably the right choice in the moment. You are wrong. Please explain why am I wrong? Hey, the vegan plant, nice to see you here. You're late, that's okay. Oh, and I forgot to give a shout out to Ben, huh? Ben G, last time, you were the first one, right? So shout out to Ben. Thank you for being the first to comment. I always give them a shout out. You guys want to try a social experiment? Hey, Samarth, I forgot to say hello to you. Animal rights activists haven't done anything either. Hey, whether our actions have yielded positive results is very difficult to quantify, but what we can tell you is that we at least try, right? We are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 activists now. We're 7 activists, and there's a couple more to come. So we're 7 activists right now. We're sitting in the cold. We're having conversations with people. We're trying to change minds, you know? We are at least trying. Okay? That's it. James Bro asks, are you vegan? Yes, I am, James. Thank you for asking. I'm vegan because I respect animals, because animals deserve moral consideration, and because I have other alternatives to any other forms of animal exploitation that we would otherwise support. In other words, I don't need to wear leather, I can wear other materials. I don't need to eat animal products, I can eat plant-based products. I don't need to support any form of animal exploitation, therefore I choose to not support it. Respect you, says James, bro. Thank you, James. I would rather you respect animals instead of me. I'm not looking here for respect. I'm looking here to change minds. I'm looking for people to stop oppressing animals, to stop paying for a system that inherently depends on animal exploitation, and to choose alternatives because we can. Javier, this man said, Javier, you say, this man is standing around bothering people on their relaxing day. Javier, I'm literally sitting with a sign asking people if they want to do a social experiment. Bothering them would imply me going directly to them and doing a social experiment on them. But I'm just sitting here and waiting for people to engage with me. So no. Your sign is made from trees. No, it's actually made of plastic. But even if it were made from trees, who cares? How does that morally justify forcing innocent sentient beings into slaughterhouses? How does that justify exploiting animals?
Good morning.
Chip asks people, doesn't demand. Every chat is consensual. Exactly. We believe in consent. We're a channel here. We're a channel here who respects consent, everybody. We don't just respect it, we live by it. We don't do anything that is not consensual. Javier says, I don't care about anyone more than I care about myself. Javier, that's fair. I also probably care about, actually not probably, I definitely care about myself more than everybody else. That doesn't mean that everybody else who I care less about, I can justify exploiting them, can I? How does that, like we all have a value system of individuals that we value more or less, right? Assuming I don't have a pet per se, but if I were to have a pet, I would assume any other individual that I interact with. My family would be probably the next individuals who are on my value list, right? Then my pet would be probably there, I don't know, maybe intertwined with some of the members of my family. Then my friends, I don't know, maybe some of the friends intertwined with the members of my family again. So I would just have a list of individuals that I value more or less, right? That doesn't mean that I get to decide at one line and I just cross the line here and say, you know what? All these individuals matter to me, all these other individuals, no. So I could just use them, I can just exploit them and do whatever I want to them. No, it does not mean that, does it? Fighting for animals over humans is dumb, says Javier. I don't fight for animals over humans. Let me just put it this way, right? Every individual that I speak to over here, every individual who speaks, and including yourself, you can choose to fight for human rights, you can choose to fight for whatever it is that you want to do. But at the end of the day, when you eat or when you buy things, you make choices. If you can choose to not force animals into slaughterhouses, why not choose that? Hi. You want to try the social experiment? You okay being live from my YouTube channel?
Okay.
What's your name?
Pedro.
Pedro, nice to meet you. I'm Chip. What's your name?
Gata.
Kata, nice to meet you. Where are you guys from?
I'm from Spain.
From Chile.
Okay, what do you do as a job? Just curious.
I'm a public worker.
You're a public worker. Okay, interesting. So do you work in an office?
I'm working in an office in the town hall.
In a town hall, okay, cool. So let's imagine this is. I'm going to throw this hypothetical scenario out there. Let's imagine that do you have a badge when you get into work?
Yes.
Yeah. So let's imagine this. You get into work tomorrow. I don't know, or when you go next to work, you get into work and somebody says, "Come with me," and you scan your badge and they say, "Come with me," and they take you to a room and they say, "Okay, well, this is your apartment now, and you no longer have to leave work, and you know what? You cannot leave work anymore." Would it be okay for somebody to do it? Like they provide you with food, they provide you with shelter, but you can never leave work.
What is the question?
Is it fair towards you? Would you like that to happen to you?
No, I don't like that.
No.
I
but-
prefer freedom.
Exactly. So let's imagine then, what if you were born in that situation? What if somebody was born in that situation where they are literally born in a place that gives them shelter, gives them food, but then exploits them for their work or whatever, and they don't actually have freedom because they were born for somebody else to decide for them.
It's a real situation for someone, no?
Is it? I hope not. Sadly, if
for
it is,
many
it's sad.
people,
Yeah.
it's a pity.
Yeah, it's a pity indeed that some people actually do have to go through this. But do you think it's not fair towards them for them to go through this, right? For them to not suffer, to not feel freedom, right?
Yes.
Because everybody wants to be free.
Everybody, yes.
Yeah.
Because
Okay.
grow up and personality and so on.
Do you think that if these individuals who were forced in these situations were intellectually challenged, and by that I mean that maybe they don't realize that they're in this situation, do you think that makes it okay to do this to them?
The social media?
No. So these individuals who are yet again kept in a place where they're fed, they're given shelter, but they're intellectually challenged, and they don't realize that they're exploited. Do you think that would be okay to do this to them? Because they don't realize that they're exploited.
This is like this is not objective because they are not realized about their situation. They don't know how to live in other way.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, but the person who's doing this to them, do you think it's okay that they do this to them?
but this person are bad persons who are
I-
thinking that they are okay because
I'm just curious, not if they're a bad person or a good person. I'm curious if you think that this one thing that they're doing, which is keeping an intellectually challenged person, like against their will, only for the sole purpose of exploiting them. Do you think is that a good thing to do or a bad thing to do?
bad thing to do.
A bad thing to do. Okay, I appreciate it. So I kind of measured your values when I ask you these questions, these hypothetical questions, right? So then I just want to bring out to the reason why I'm here. What do you think about the animals that we farm? Do you think the animals that we farm are in exactly the same situation as I
Yes.
described it here?
Yes, especially chickens,
Yeah.
cows are inside of exploitations, intensive,
Yeah.
and there are animals that never know how the sound is.
Exactly. Yeah, they never actually experience freedom, right?
Exactly.
But and even on smaller farms, right? All those animals are still in the same place, right? They're just being given a bigger room. They're just being given a bigger apartment, but they're still in a place where they don't decide for themselves. They still don't decide what they eat or anything. Farmers decide everything, and farmers decide when they have to get pregnant, when they have to die, or everything, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
the most of farmers, yes.
Yeah, so-
There are different farms between them. So there are people who use animals, but also provides them a good life, not only.
But that's why I posed this hypothetical
Yes,
scenario, right?
it's
Because
true.
yeah,
But
if
speak
you
about
give them a good
persons,
life, do you think it justifies exploiting them because we give them a good life?
I not agree about. O sea, for me, there is a different point between people and animals. People, we can think about our lives and these decisions and.
But that's
it's
why I
different,
pose
it's
this
different.
this intellectually challenged individual, right? That's why I pose this scenario because, let's say, if you imagine an intellectually challenged person who has the cognitive abilities of an animal, then this individual, what's the difference between them and any other animal, right? Like after all, I don't think there's any difference between us and any other animal. I don't think there's any difference between me and a cow. Not at least not one that would justify slashing the throat of them, but not me. You see what I mean? Like, why is it that they don't have any body autonomy, that they don't get to decide for their own body, but I get to? Like, what is that difference that says, well, it's okay that they don't decide, but I do, right? Like, what should I not have? Like, what is it that something that, if there's something that I wouldn't have, then should also be exploited and treated like an animal?
The principal difference is the cow. Obviously, if a free cow don't decide many things that you should be decide because you are a person. A person needs more things than animals. My point is, the cow maybe live in the same mountain all the life, and you maybe not.
But there's also human beings who live with their mountain all their life, right? Like
not many,
the
not
needs,
many.
the needs of animals, we have no
But-
way of knowing what an animal needs because we have no way of communicating properly and knowing what their needs are, right? We just assume that they need food or shelter, but in fact, we have seen time and time again that animals also want to play. Animals get bored. Animals are curious. Animals are interested. So we see all of these
Yeah,
behaviors in them, right? So when we see this, we just when we diminish them as simple automatons and saying, well, all they need is food and shelter, we are more complex, we need all these other things. Reality is we kind of all have the same needs. Animals also want to be loved. Animals also want to be social. Well, at least the social animals, and cows, chickens, pigs, they're all social animals. They all still want to be loved. They all still want to find social. They want to replicate. They want to, like have sex, replicate just like we do. They have kind of the same drives that we do in life. It's just that we somehow diminish them because we can't speak their language. You don't really understand it, and we think they're stupid in a way. And maybe they are a little bit stupider than us. I'm not gonna say that. It's just that I don't think intelligence should be the line where we say, oh, they get to die for us just because they're stupider than us. You see what I mean?
No, yes, you are right. But animals are not the same, all the animals. There are animals, wild, domestic animals, maybe for time, for humans. But I think the behaviors of cow are not independent. I never talk with a cow.
Yeah, of course.
I wish
I've
to.
never spoken to any animal, to be honest. So I don't know, but
I wish, but the thing is, for me, I have a dog. I can watching the dog every day, and the most important for him is smell, run.
because that's how he experiences the world, right? Because that's how he experiences the world. But if a dog looks at you, he'll say that the most important thing for you is your phone, right?
Maybe.
Right? And
yes.
he'll say while he goes around inspecting and smelling things, he'll look at you and say, well, if you take away his phone, that's all it is. Or you just have, in order to keep a human being occupied or to give them everything you need, you give them food, shelter, and a phone. That's it. And a human being is satisfied, right?
But the thing
It seems
is,
like much less needs than an animal because an animal needs more needs in that situation.
yes.
Yeah.
The point is, the dog has two faces.
Yeah.
Yes, of course. The dog is working on you, and day by day is more similar to you. It's also
Yeah, they learn from you,
physically
yeah,
some dogs, but the other face is an animal. It's an animal with their own genetic needles and instinct.
Which we don't really understand,
The behavior it's not if it's not the same if you compare with people.
No, of
Because-
course, but that doesn't mean that it's right or wrong, right? It doesn't mean that our behavior is the right one, right? Because we walk on 2 legs. If you see a human being walking on 4 legs, like if you see a human being walking with their arms, we would say that's weird. Why would you ever do that? But dogs do that inherently. That's how they behave, right? So that's just an example of a behavior that animals do it differently because of who they are. Doesn't mean that that behavior is wrong or that our behavior is wrong. It's just we have slightly different needs. I agree with you. We have slightly different needs, of course. It's just that, do you think that, because where I'm trying to get at is, we as individuals, we make choices, right? And when we buy animal products, we choose to force these animals into slaughterhouses. We choose to take away their life, right? And you seem like a compassionate person. You seem to understand what animals go through. So I'm just trying to figure out, what is it that you think, maybe you have never thought about this, so maybe that's the thing, but what is it that you think that justifies choosing to send an animal to a slaughterhouse when you don't actually need to?
I think this conversation is very deep.
Yeah.
And I'm not ready.
Yeah.
I never thinking about. So I have information about the farms, big farms
Yeah.
and animals. I'm against about that. I think like you are right in the thinking that animals have their feelings, and it's not correct the way that humans do with them. No.
Yeah.
I agree with you, but
Yeah.
I never thinking deep about that.
I appreciate that. And do you think that, and I appreciate you being honest with me, it's really nice to see that. And do you think that it's important that you consider this going forward? Do you think that it's important that you consider your actions? Because maybe your actions are impacting animals who feel, animals who dream, and maybe they don't want to die for you. Maybe they don't want to be exploited for you. You see what I mean?
For sure, they don't want to.
Yeah.
Any animal, human or not human, want to die.
Exactly. And we have choices.
Survival.
That's the difference, right? You have choices. I have choices. They don't. When
They
we
don't.
make a choice that forces them into slaughterhouses, that forces them to be exploited, they don't have any other choice but to suffer our choice, to suffer the repercussions of our choice. So I'm just trying to get people to understand this and to get them to make better choices. That's all I want you to do, you know?
And what normal people can do to avoid that?
I mean, I would say avoid animal products.
Yeah.
Go vegan.
Maybe it's the way, yes, or the only way nowadays.
It is the only way, because there's animal exploitation is happening everywhere. You know, when I learned what happened to dairy cows. Do you know what happens to dairy cows, the cows that produce milk, for example?
I sometimes take cheese, but not milk, and eggs.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
But all those animals, we imagine that eggs, milk, we
Yeah.
imagine that we live with those animals. We give them food and they give us food back, right?
Exactly.
But that's not what happens. Is the sad reality is, cows, in order for cows to produce milk, they're like just like us, they're mammals, so they have to have babies. So farmers, they don't let them, you know, whenever you want to have a baby, it's okay. No, they forcefully impregnate them. They literally put their hands in their anus and inject bull semen in their vagina. Like it's insane. And when the babies are born, they don't just allow the babies to drink from their mother's milk. They take them away so that they control the milk.
Because for them there are products, not animals.
They are products, exactly. And when we buy animal products, we're telling the farmers, treat more animals like products so that I get cheese, so that I get milk, so that I get whatever I get. And it's the same that happens with eggs and everything, sadly.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
I can say nothing more.
I appreciate
Because
you.
you
Can I give you a card to look more into it and make some better choices?
Come on, okay.
Well, let me just ask you one final question. How many more animals should be exploited for you before you make a change?
How many
Yeah. How many do you want?
animals I want to explode?
Yeah, how many animals do you want to be exploited for you?
Oof, it's many. I think many.
That's how
for,
many.
for one of us.
Is that what you want?
No.
No. How many do you want?
How many? No, none.
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 You gotta go vegan. That's all it is. Okay, so I recommend you either watch Dominion or The Most Important Speech You'll Ever Hear. You just scan this QR code,
Okay.
and you have all the resources there to help you out if you decide that you don't want to be part of it. Okay?
Okay.
Oh, you're scanning it right now. Nice.
Yeah, I will.
I'm try, o sea, I'm use cruelty-free products.
Oh, for the makeup and stuff. Oh, that's excellent. That's excellent. That's excellent. Oh, this is the really good speech. If you want to give that a watch, you
I
might
will.
really enjoy it.
I will.
It's like 30 minutes, and then it's questions and answers. But the speech itself is really good.
Thank you so much.
Hey, thank you so much. What was your name again?
Pedro.
Pedro.
Nice to
I'm
meet you.
Chip.
Cheers.
Chip.
No?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Hey, thank you so much. It's awesome to see open-minded people who actually want to think and want to act. You know, it's.
I will explore in your world.
I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you so
Thank
much.
you.
Hey,
Thank
have
you so
an
much.
awesome time, and have an awesome time in Amsterdam. Okay. Cheers. That was a good conversation. I really like this guy. Soon we shall have victory, brothers and sisters. Yeah, nice people, yeah. Ibrasal says, I decided to add you to the barn. Which barn? Nice one, yeah. I also thought it was a good one. He had empathy and logic, exactly. He had empathy and logic. It's so nice to see people who you know, because that's also the thing. I feel like when I do social experiments with people, right? And that's the hardest part about this, is because I have a couple of social experiments that I want to try, and when I ask people questions, I kind of want to assess which one is the best social experiment to do with them. And the problem is that if I don't do the right one, or I actually don't want to say that it's my fault when I choose this. I just want to say that there's people who don't engage with the social experiment, whether that's because I chose the wrong social experiment or because those people don't actually want to engage with it. That just ends up not being a great discussion, because if they don't engage with it, then the social experiment doesn't really make sense, right? Like, this person actually engaged with the whole idea of what animals go through, of imagining that being at work and never having freedom, and you value freedom. And then when I went back to animals, he instantly agreed with it. Yeah, she had some arguments here and there, but he agreed with it, and he listened, and we had a conversation. And I don't know, I just appreciate people who are like that, you know, open-minded and want to have conversations. That's what we want. I don't have either expectations other than conversations and, you know, a willingness to do something else, to change. That's important. Stephen Averse says, watch Dominion. Exactly. And everybody in the chat, I am so thankful for you guys being there and having conversations with other people in the chat. You know, what I do here is only one part of it. I feel like everybody who's in the chat right now, who's vegan, who's having conversations with people, you guys are all also the activists that are right here with me and helping out, and I appreciate you for doing that. We are a team, and we need to do this. We work together. We get people. You know, we want to stop animal exploitation. And yes, it's go vegan. It's so easy these days. If it's discovered that plants are conscious, what will you eat, says Lord Voldemort. That's a good question, Lord Voldemort. So, first of all, I would argue that even if you think plants are sentient, or if it's discovered that plants are sentient, if we don't have other alternatives, then being vegan, it's still the morally preferable choice, because, you know, we often forget that the animals that we farm, the animals that we exploit, the animals that we use, that we treat as objects, we also have to feed them, and we usually feed them more plants than we would otherwise eat ourselves. So that just means that even if plants were to be conscious or sentient, even in that situation, it would still make more sense for you to be vegan, because you would be killing less plants, less conscious, sentient plants. But if plants were to be conscious, I would think that we would need to work on some form of chemical alternatives for food, so that we don't also exploit and kill plants. It's as easy as that. I think all sentient life matters. Ibrasal says, "Don't hurt plants. You may eat sand." I don't. At the end of the day, I believe that food serves two purposes. One is nutrition, right? It's supposed to be as nutritious as it can possibly be. We're supposed to be getting all our essential nutrients from them, both macro and micronutrients, and also as taste. Food is it's a good thing that brings us pleasure. It's something that we shouldn't be giving up. It's nice. We enjoy food. That's the whole thing about it, right? It's one of those pleasures in life, and it's actually a big pleasure for most people in life. So as long as we can accomplish those in whatever methods, whatever methods that don't actually exploit sentient beings, then I don't really care what those are, right? Like, why would you care what where or how your food is produced or where your food is coming from, as long as you know that it's ethical, or at least the most ethical choice that you can make, right? Isn't that the whole point about it? Right? The reason why we care about where our food is coming from is because there's ethical issues with where our food is coming from. And I'm not just saying for animal products. Of course, animal products have a fuck ton more ethical issues than plant-based products, but plant-based products also have ethical issues within them, which we should also be addressing. So, yeah. But if we ever reach a point where we could just literally synthesize, or use bacteria or form what is it called, precision fermentation, and we use a form of precision fermentation where we just generate food from that, why not? As long as we get all the nutrition that we need and the taste, why not? Hi.
Hello.
Are you keeping live on my YouTube channel?
Yeah.
What's your name?
Rosie.
Rosie, nice to meet you. I'm Chip. Where are you from?
England.
England. Okay, that's cool. What do you do for a job, Rosie?
I work in a cafe.
You work in a cafe. Okay. Then that's not good for you. I'm just gonna turn this around. Animal abuse should be legal. What do you think?
It shouldn't be legal because animals have feelings and.
Am I to assume that it's wrong to abuse animals according to your own view?
Yeah.
Okay. Why?
Because they can feel things. They can feel pain.
I appreciate that. Okay. Do you think that when we buy animal products, animals are abused?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So do you think that you can be against animal abuse while at the same time buying animal products?
I think most people turn a blind eye to it, but they just try not to think about it because they don't want to not have those things like animal products.
Yeah. Yeah, most people turn a blind eye to it. And but do you think that essentially, if you know that behind animal products there is inherent animal abuse, do you think that you as an individual have a responsibility then to not choose animal products?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you feel about this? Do you consume animal products? I'm not judging. By the
I
way.
do.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't. Yeah, I do. Like.
And how do you equalize this with this whole idea that I told you? Well, you say you're against animal abuse, you consume animal products, you acknowledge that there's animal abuse behind animal products. I understand what you're saying, that you probably haven't thought about it, right? But do you think that it's important that going forward, because what happens in the past we don't care, but going forward, do you think it's important that you think about it and that you don't contribute to animal abuse?
I think that more like processing places for animals like meat, it should be more humane in like the conditions and the way that they take the like the meat from animals, because usually they're like just not.
You mean killing them?
Yeah, I think.
Do you think there's a way to kill an animal without abusing them? Don't you think killing
it's
is inherently abusive?
I don't think so. Well, because it's not like the abuse, but it's like.
But let me ask you this way: do you think these animals replicate on their own, or do you think we control the replication?
Oh, we control that.
And do you think that's not abusive for us to control how they replicate, how their sexual reproduction organs, everything?
I think it's not abuse.
It's not abuse.
Yeah.
You can call it abuse. It's fine.
Well, it's I guess because they don't like have all that animal. Like I don't know.
Let me ask you: do you think exploitation is abusive? Is exploitation abusive
Yeah.
to you? Yeah. And animals? Do you think animal agriculture can ever exist without exploiting animals?
I would hope so, but probably not.
Yeah, because
Just with corporations and
But not just that. Even like small farm. I come from Romania. You know, my grandma had animals in her own backyard, and we depend on some form of exploitation, right?
Yeah.
We can argue that some forms of exploitation are worse than others, and it's true. But any form of exploitation is not good,
Yeah.
especially given that we have alternatives, right? Like my grandma, she didn't have alternatives. It was what it was. It was kind of like a necessary evil. But we go to supermarkets. We choose options. For us, it's literally just moving a little bit on one side and
Yeah.
choosing the plant-based option instead of choosing the animal-based option.
I think just for a lot of people, they can't afford different options because like plant-based food is expensive. Mostly, I think.
Well, it actually can be cheaper to be plant-based.
Yeah.
There's been 3 studies. I would show them to you, but they're on my phone.
Yeah.
You can look it up afterwards. There's been 3 studies in Western Europe, America, UK, Australia, and it's actually much cheaper to be plant-based on these, like around 30% cheaper. A lot of the times when we imagine plant-based, we imagine like plant-based meats, and those are
Yeah.
usually the more expensive ones. But if you live like normally, most of your diet will consist of lentils, chickpeas, pasta, rice,
Yeah.
beans, bread, all this kind of stuff. And even if you do consume some plant-based meat, even those, they might be a small part of your budget, and even those are getting
Yeah.
cheaper these days. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
So what do you want to do? Do you want to continue supporting this form of animal abuse, or do you want to stop?
I think I'd like to stop, but yeah, more people is like who should.
Yeah, I know a lot of people should. I think everybody should
Yeah.
stop. You know, that's the sad reality. But I think, like, do you think that if everybody around you supports this form of animal abuse, do you think that you should also support it, or do you think that you should still stop?
I think we should stop until like places like the processing places for the animals should have more humane conditions for them to keep in. Because I think never eating or like having animal products ever again is just unsustainable.
Why is that unsustainable?
Well, just because I feel
Is
like
it
more
unsustainable
people
to
could-
never eat dogs? Is it unsustainable to never eat dogs?
No.
So why would it be unsustainable to never eat chickens, cows, or pigs?
Well, in some places they do eat dogs because those are the only meat that they can
No,
find.
but for you, I mean,
for me.
yeah.
Well, there are no places that like here which sell dog meat, and I guess if they did, then it would be, I don't know.
I'm just
like-
trying to grasp why you call it unsustainable, because in absolutely
it's
no way it's unsustainable, environmentally, economically.
Well, just because people don't want to change, they don't want to change.
Oh, that's a different
So,
thing. Yeah. In the sense that
It's
people
like
don't
a
want to
lifestyle
change.
that people don't want
Yeah,
to sustain.
I understand that. Yeah, that a lot of people don't really want to be part of it. And I understand also the difficulty that some people have because we live in a non-vegan world, right?
Yeah.
But the reason why that's why I have also conversations with people, because I think some things are hard in life, but the right thing to do, even if it's the hard thing to do, it's important that we do
Yeah.
it, right? Like if it were easier for me to, I don't know, if it were easier for society to have women working in the house, to be housewives, to never have the rights to, to never have rights to vote, right to go to work,
Yeah,
right to, like equal rights. That doesn't mean we should still continue doing that, right? We should always still consider them and say, well, they deserve rights because they're individuals who deserve rights.
Yeah.
And in the same situation, I think when it comes to animals, it's like I understand that everybody does it and we're all in the situation, but we should still consider them, and we ourselves should not be part of it, because at some point it will change if we are also part of the change. But if we say, yeah, society should change, but then we are part of the other side of
Yeah,
it,
yeah.
then society can never change. You see, like
Yeah.
it starts with individuals like us, right?
Yeah.
So how many more animals should be exploited for you before you make a change?
None, but
None.
yeah.
Yeah. You gotta go vegan for that. Do you know what being vegan means?
No animal products. But with some like with leather, vegan leather is made of plastic, which is just.
So is normal
worse.
leather.
Well, like
Normal leather also has plastic on it. Yeah.
yeah, but it's not fully like it's.
Doesn't matter. Also, neither is vegan leather. There's so many forms of vegan leather, but like, let me put it this way: environmentally speaking, vegan leather is still better than even plastic leather is still better for the environment than normal leather. I know we think that leather is normally biodegradable, but it's not because we put difficult chemical substances on it for it to survive. Like, you can imagine that because if you
Yeah.
rip a part of your skin, it's not like going to survive forever.
Yeah.
You need to have some form of things to conserve it, right? But either way, like, I don't think this is an environmental issue. I think, like, again, like, let's imagine that if I bring it back to the same women's argument, like women going to work, if that would somehow impact the environment negatively, if women having rights would impact the environment negatively, it doesn't mean that we should not give women rights. We should still give
Yeah.
women rights, right? Like, I think the environment needs to work with us, not we should be changing society for the environment, especially when it comes to rights of individuals. You see
Yeah.
what I mean? Like, we shouldn't be disrespecting animals just because it would be better for the environment, although it isn't.
Yeah.
Coincidentally, it also is good for the environment and all that.
Yeah.
See what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, you have to go.
I feel like I talked a lot, yeah. Well, thank you for having this conversation. Can I give you a card?
Yeah.
Okay. I recommend, if I can recommend you one thing, watch Dominion. It's right there on the card. You just gotta scan that QR code.
Okay.
Or the most important speech you'll ever hear. It's the first two videos that will come up on top. Can you promise me you'll watch one of those?
Oh yeah.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate you. What was your name again?
Rosie.
Rosie. Thank you so much, Rosie. I'm
Alright.
Chip. Have a good one, okay?
You too.
Another unsuccessful conversation for the vegans. It wasn't the best conversation, I'll give you that, but that's okay. We continue fighting. How are you guys gonna stop this? We continue fighting. That's how we stop this. I eat plants because the animals I eat plants. It says New Hampshire red blood. Yeah. Yeah, how do you justify the exploitation of animals, New Hampshire? How do you justify the enslaving animals? I thought you showed so many U.S. flags. I thought when you're an American citizen, you value freedom and you respect freedom and you fight for the freedom. How are you respecting the freedom of animals when you're keeping them locked, taking their freedom away, enslaving them, and forcing them into slaughterhouses for something that you don't need? How are you doing that? You have the freedom to eat a steak. Should you have the freedom to eat a human? It's pretty easy, you know? And that's the thing I love about veganism in general. It's you can frame it in so many ways. Veganism is literally a movement against slavery. It's a movement against animal slavery. It's a movement against seeing animals as resources. You know, during chattel slavery in US and in other places, you can look it up. They literally used animals as an example why people should be enslaved. Imagine if we lived in a world where we thought enslaving animals is wrong. Do you think they could have used animals as an example on why humans should be enslaved? No, of course not. Whew. I think I have one more conversation within me, everybody. We're not going to do a long one today, and that's okay. We don't have to do a long one. Oh, are they wanna?
Guys for you.
Oh, nice. Thank you. There you go. Somebody got to go. Hey, you guys okay being live from my YouTube channel?
Yeah, sure, that's
What's your name?
Ayush.
Ayush, nice to meet you. I'm Chip.
Nice to meet you.
You also want to do it? Oh, okay. So, can you come a little bit closer so that you're in view? Yeah, nice. Okay, so how do you feel about animals?
Oh, I love animals.
You love animals?
Yeah.
Okay, why do you love animals?
Always grew up with animals around, had parrots, had a tortoise, had dogs growing up. I'm also vegetarian for that reason as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Do you think that animals deserve moral consideration?
yeah definitely, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And you said you're vegetarian for that reason. What does that mean? Did you become vegetarian so that animals are not exploited for you, or why?
So I was raised a vegetarian, but I was raised a lot of things which I don't follow
Yeah.
anymore.
Fair
But,
enough.
That's one thing that I can't get myself to do, eat meat,
Yeah.
because for the love of animals, and it's just something that I just cannot do. Yeah.
What is it about meat that's bad for the animals? Like, why is it that you say that you can't find yourself to eat meat because you respect animals, you appreciate animals? Is it because meat kills animals, or is it because meat exploits animals? What specifically is it about it?
I think it's both. It's not good for the environment, exploits animals, kills animals, of course, and animals are raised and breeded, and it's a whole industry now. So,
Do you think that all of that also applies to dairy products or egg products?
yeah, absolutely, it does. It
So,
does,
so
yeah.
when you say you're vegetarian,
Yeah.
I'm assuming you consume dairy products or
Yeah,
egg
I do.
products.
I
so,
do,
So do
yeah.
you think that is there any difference between meat and dairy products, or meat and eggs, considering all of them exploit and kill animals?
It's all ultimately, it's all sad. Yeah, dairy is no better either. I won't say that dairy is better than eating meat, or considering the way animals are kept and the hormones they are giving to produce more milk and all of that. So, yeah, I won't say one is better than the other. Yeah.
So then why not go vegan and live up to your values? Because I feel like you're not actually living up to your values right now,
Yeah.
right? When you say that you're vegetarian, and I appreciate, like, obviously vegetarian, I guess it's a little bit better than meat eater,
Yeah.
but at the end of the day, there's still animals who are
Yeah.
exploited and killed for you, right?
Yeah, absolutely. No, I should and I would give it up. I think the primary reason for me that I haven't given it up yet is just protein intake. So just to match up with my daily protein intake, it just makes it easier for me to consume dairy. But yeah,
How much protein do you eat per day, can I ask?
100 grams protein a day is what I should be taking, but I only reach up to say 50 or 60 grams.
What?
With whey as well. Yeah, once
I will show you that I wish I could show you, but it's on my phone. I do calorie tracking, and I eat around 200 300 grams of protein
that's
per day.
crazy. Wow.
Yeah, it's you said also with whey protein, so I'm guessing you get the protein shake.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
so let me just put it this way, like instead of whey protein, you can get a vegan protein base, right? And
Yeah.
it's already kind of the same
Yeah,
protein
yeah,
source.
Yeah.
And with everything else, like if you eat some tofu, some chickpeas, lentils, and all this stuff,
Yeah.
which I'm assuming you kind of do, right?
Yeah, I do.
It's
Yeah, it's
then
manageable.
You manageable.
Yeah,
You reach
yeah,
your protein
yeah,
intake.
yeah.
But like, I'm just curious. Like, do you think that? No, I'll just ask you. How many more animals should be exploited for you until you change and no longer support this exploitation?
None at all.
Not at all,
Yeah,
man.
maybe this would be the conversation that acts as the catalyst for me to change.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And like, I'm vegan, by the way. Do you know what being vegan means?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
It's literally like being vegan is not a diet, right?
Yeah.
It just means opposing animal exploitation. It means
Right.
saying no to any forms of animal exploitation as much as you possibly and practically can.
Right.
So that obviously means that choosing for food, for clothing, for entertainment, you have other sources.
Yeah.
Therefore, why would you ever choose to exploit an animal?
Yeah.
See what I mean?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
you don't do it for health reasons, you do it for animals.
Exactly. That's what being vegan means. Everything else is kind of like plant-based, right? Like
Yeah.
there's a diet that accompanies veganism, but that's called a plant-based diet, and that's only as a consequence because, as I said, you don't want animals to be exploited, and thus you consume plant-based products. But theoretically, you know, as a vegan, like just to put it in perspective, theoretically as a vegan, you also shouldn't be consuming coconuts that are coming from Thailand. And the reason for that is because in Thailand, they use monkeys to get the coconuts. Yeah, they exploit
What?
monkeys. Yeah, it's insane. They enslave them, they exploit them. It's a whole thing, right? So theoretically, as a vegan, it's not just as a plant. You don't just go plant-based, but you also kind of look out for these kind of stuff and try to avoid exploitation as much as you can.
Yeah.
If, of course, your main source of food cannot possibly be anything but some form of coconut, it's again as much as you possibly can, but you have to be honest with
Start
yourself how
somewhere.
much
Yeah.
you possibly can, right? Because a lot of the times people, when you tell them, well, it's as much as you possibly can,
Yeah.
they lean onto it and they're like, well, I'm doing my best.
Yeah.
Are you really? Are you really? You see what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Fair enough.
So,
Yeah.
so what do you want to do? Do you want to go vegan or do you want to?
I think I would try, yeah.
Ah.
Anyway, I think I'm lactose intolerant, so it doesn't
Ah.
sit well with our
There
tummy.
you
So,
go.
yeah.
There you
I
go.
think
Just
it
just
would be good
aligns
stuff.
perfectly with you.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have any questions for me?
No, nice meeting you. May I know why you're doing this? What motivated you to do this?
Yeah, so I always was attracted to activism in general as a person. I like speaking on other behalves. I fought for some human rights. I fought for environment also, and now I do it for animals. I feel like this is the best suited for me because it's. I also believe in the cause a lot. I feel like I was telling the chat just now that during slavery times in U.S. for example, there were ads of people, and there were ads showing black people and saying they're just like animals. And they justified enslaving them by saying they're just like animals, right? And I believe that if we were to live in a vegan world where we say, well, animals shouldn't be enslaved, then obviously you cannot justify enslaving, including humans. So I believe that the way we treat animals is kind of a root issue in our society in a way that we treat humans also. The Holocaust, the what do you call it? All the gas chambers and everything are inspired from how we kill pigs and how we, it's insane. Like I believe that this is one of those issues that if we were to solve it, a lot of other issues could theoretically fall down. I'm not extremely confident in it because the more I go in life, the more I see that people are selectively racist, that have no logic within their argumentation or their values.
Yeah.
But it is a start. It is something that you can at least not, how should I put this? You cannot be systematic with it, right? You cannot say, as I said, oh, it's okay to enslave these humans because they're just like animals. No, it's not okay to enslave animals. How can you justify it now?
Okay.
See what I mean? That's kind of how I got into it, and I just align more with this one.
Nice speaking with you.
Yeah, nice speaking with you. Let me give you a card to help you with this. So, one thing you have that might be helpful for you, if you scan this QR code, there's a thing there called Challenge 22. They hook you up with a nutritionist. They send you recipes every day. They help you go vegan.
Okay.
And they can help you also reach your protein goals and everything, okay? Okay, and you just gotta want it, and
Okay, yeah, that's great.
Vegan?
Thank you so much. Yeah. I was an easy one.
It's awesome to see open-minded people.
I try to convert him now.
You try to convert him now. Perfect. I appreciate you. Have a good one. Cheers. That was a good conversation. Nice guy. I have this problem sometimes when I look when I speak too much. Wait, what? You look delicious, by the way, Ibrasal. Does that mean that you would kill me and eat me? I do have a lot of muscles, but it might be stringy, I don't have a lot of fat. I was gonna ask Lodewijk to step in again so that I can go to the bathroom, but Lodewijk is already busy in another conversation. Every vegan activist is busy. Yes, every vegan activist is busy today. Damn, it's pretty cool. A lot of conversations. It's pretty cool. I'm happy to see that. I can't show you. Well, maybe I can show you. Let me see if I can slowly turn it around. So I think you can see him right over here. That's Lodewijk, and he's having a conversation already. He's also filming it. Then we have another conversation right over here. And I'm not going to turn it around because other people are close to me, and I don't know if they want to be on camera or not. But yeah, we have every activist is now busy with having conversations. I'm only saying this, by the way, if anybody ever wants to join like Vegan Future, or if they want to join a group, you should do it. It's kind of cool. You're meeting people who have the same values as you, You get to have conversations with you. Maybe if you, like me, live in a world where not all your friends are vegan, not your family members maybe not vegan, you don't know who to have these conversations with. But then when you meet with these people, you can have all the conversations. You can let out some of the frustration you have for being a vegan in a not-vegan world. It's pretty cool. Yeah. And it's on top of that, you also get to do activism and make the world a little bit of a better place. I see everybody in the chat is chatting. I love it. Cultures literally feed their kids raw meat. We cook it because most how we get it. Listen, you gotta understand one thing. People who are new in the chat, being vegan is not about what you eat. It's not about what you wear. It's literally about acknowledging that there's victims, animal victims, on some of the choices that you're making. And it's about trying your best to make the right choices and not force animals into being exploited or slaughtered for you. So, of course, as a consequence, you're not probably gonna kill animals for food if you have alternatives, right? It's as easy as that. And if you're, FYI, if you're in a situation where you don't have alternatives, if you're not gonna die, why would you still force an animal to die for you, right? If you're in a situation where, hey, I have alternatives. I don't have alternatives. I'm hungry. Maybe you can wait it out until you get to a place where you do have alternatives. I don't know. Otherwise, I mean, again, I'm not saying that you should die, but why would you force animals into slaughterhouses? Just because you feel like it, you know? I understand. I believe that animals were put here to be exploited. We're put here to be exploited. You think? Wow. You know, we are also animals, you know? Are we put here to be exploited? Oh, so Rob says, so are you passively. So I'm also exploited passively. Rob, I believe, you know, this whole all or nothing approach is detrimental to absolutely any social movement that you're ever going to have, because I don't know if the world is ever going to be perfect. That's the sad reality. I don't know if we're ever going to achieve this area where we respect everybody's rights, where everybody is morally considered and all that. Maybe not, you know. The sad reality is even in today's world, there still are racists, there still are misogynists, even in today's world. So it feels like no matter how far we go, there will always be people who disrespect others. There will always be people who don't treat members outside of their own group of individuals, who treat them badly just because they're outside of their own group of individuals. I don't think you should be advocating for that, and I don't think you should ever be part of that just because others do it or just because the world is like that. I think we should continue striving to make the world better. I think we should continue striving to not allow this kind of discrimination. FYI. And that involves also exploitation, of course. Nature involved eating meat in our line. This isn't abnormal. What's abnormal are the methods we now implement. I don't care what's normal or abnormal. It's not about what's normal or abnormal, you know? During slavery times, it was normal to enslave people. That didn't make it right. What we care is about what is moral, what is not moral, okay? Normal just means that everybody does it. It means absolutely nothing. There's a lot of things that are normal that aren't moral, right? Like, as I said, during slavery times was that. I can't think of a situation right now. And as for us eating meat, yeah, we used to eat meat. Doesn't mean anything. And again, you gotta stop thinking about yourself. You gotta stop thinking about meat, me, my food, my this, my that. You gotta, for a second, start thinking about the victims of your choices. You got to, for a second, think that, hey, if I can choose for an animal to not be slaughtered for me, why would I, or exploited even, why would I ever choose that? Why? Like, what is it, who am I to decide for an animal to be exploited or slaughtered for me? Like, what do my values say when I choose that? When I can choose for them to not be exploited? I mean, yeah, I have the power to do that. Sadly, we all kind of have that power. But does that mean you should be exerting your power? Does that mean that you should be forcing them into these situations, that you should be exploiting them and taking their life just because you have the power to do so? I don't think you should be doing that. That's just what I'm saying. Yeah. And again, try to think a little bit outside of you and your group. Try to think a little bit of the consequences of your actions, of your choices. And yeah, I'm sitting here speaking on animal rights, but you should be doing that regardless of whatever it is that you're doing. You should spend some time once a week, once a month, whenever you're doing whatever it is that you're doing. You should, and this goes also for vegan people, by the way. You should be spending some time out of your life, sit down 1 hour per month, whatever, sit down. Don't have any screens in front of you, any books or anything, anybody. Just don't have any distractions, and think a little bit of the choices that you're making. Think a little bit of, is there anything you can be improving in your life? That goes maybe for your health. That goes maybe for the victims of your choices. Just, challenge the choices that you're making, is my point. Challenge it. It's important. We can only improve by challenging the choices that we're making. Hamsack says, I bet this guy's clothes are made in a sweatshop. Actually, they're not. You'd be surprised to find out that I actually paid a lot of money for my clothes to not be in sweatshops. And I buy very rarely clothes for that reason. But even if I did that, let's assume that I did that. How does that justify you forcing animals into slaughterhouses? It doesn't, does it? This guy buys clothes in a sweatshop, therefore I will go, slap women because I can, because I have the power over them. Makes no sense. Hamsack, empathy for humans. Yeah, I don't know what to tell you, man. I don't think you have empathy for humans. What about the humans that are forced, that are put in this situation where they're working in a slaughterhouse where they have to cut the throat of animals for you? Have you ever read the stories of what these humans go through? You care about humans, you say, I don't think you do. Because if you did, you wouldn't be supporting this. It's rife with human abuse also, not just animal abuse. I was answering the same person who said Chip had a phone that exploited humans. I was asking them what they were doing to stop human exploitation. That's a good point, yeah. So Spalti says, hey all. And by the way, everyone, if you're enjoying this, please hit that like, subscribe, and let's see. As I said, I think I have one more conversation in me, then I gotta go to use le toilet. Yeah. Hello, how's the day been so far? Asks Stinky Stinker. Okay, we had some good conversations. There's a lot of activists out today, so not everybody stops for me. What does your sign say? My sign says, I'm doing a social experiment, come talk to me. There is a story, by the way, why the social experiment sign shows a woman in a cape, with a cape, and a man. Because I had a social experiment at one point that was about superheroes. And when Alexandra designed this, she decided to make the woman a superhero, which I thought was really cool. And yeah. PSHHH says plants are alive too. There you go, PSSH, you get it, then you should be vegan, perfect. Because if you think that the life of plants is important, then surely less plants should be killed for you. And you know what? When you're vegan, less plants are killed for you, because when you're not vegan, the animals that you're consuming eat a lot more plants than you would otherwise eat. So, yeah. But yeah, as the vegan plant mentions, plants are not sentient. Michael Rush says, eat meat and plants. Yet again, Michael Rush, I will challenge you just like I challenged everybody else. How does that morally justify for exploiting animals, forcing them into slaughterhouses, treating them like objects? Do you think animals are objects? Michael Rush says they are prey. Well, Michael Rush, you are also prey. There's plenty of animals that will see you as prey. Does that mean that I get to, cut your throat and eat you or use you for whatever you think, or for whatever I think is needed? Well, for whatever I justify as calling it needed, because it's not really needed. I'm at the top of the food chain, says Michael Rush. So Michael Rush, you being at the top of the food chain literally just means that you, because I'm assuming you don't know what the food chain is, because there's no top to the food chain, but let's assume that you imagine this chain where you're at the top of it, which just means you have power over animals. Do you think that just because you have power over them gives you the right to do whatever you want to them? John VA says, you look like a vegan. Thank you, John VA. I do look like a vegan, indeed. I look like a compassionate, intelligent person. Thank you for that. That's a very big compliment. Also, that's a good point. People who say, well, I'm on the top of the food chain, and then they go into a supermarket. That's kind of funny, yeah. Seyo says, we have eaten meat for years, why stop now? So Seyo, we could have justified maybe in the past that we needed meat or any animal products. The reason why you should stop eating animal products, and I don't care whether those are meat, whether those are eggs, whether those are milk, whatever those are, it's not because you should stop consuming those. Like if you could find a way to have those without exploiting or slaughtering innocent animals, then you do that. It's not about what you eat, it's not about what you wear, and I repeat, it's about treating animals like objects, it's about seeing animals like objects, it's about letting them be who they are, just like you are being left to be who you are. It's as simple as that, right? It's as simple as, let's not take away the liberty of others just because we have power to do so. Michael Rush says, I live on the beach, I eat a lot of fish and shellfish. There you go, Michael Rush. Why do you think it's okay to take the life, to exploit and take the life of those fish and shellfish? Do you think they don't feel? Do you think they want to be food for you? Don't you think they want to live their life? Why would you ever choose to put them in that situation? You have other alternatives. Any other animal within the animal kingdom that you probably are going to give as an example, or anybody else is going to give an example, you know what? All these animals, lions, all of them, they don't kill for fun. They don't do it because they're like, oh, I do it because I want to. No, they do it because they need to, That's what they did for nutrition, for sustenance. You don't do that for that. You do it because you literally like it. You just do it because that's what you want to do. Food chain. One day animals will eat my body. I doubt it. Why would that ever be a thing?
Hello.
Hey, you guys want to try a social experiment?
Okay, yeah.
Alright, keep being live for my YouTube channel.
Okay, hello. Hey,
What are your guys' names?
Shay.
Shay, nice to meet you.
Callum.
Callum.
Matthew.
Okay, I'm not going to remember any of that. I'm sorry. Shay, Callum, and Matthew. Okay,
What's your name?
I'm Chip. Okay, so I'm going to turn this around and you tell me what you think. It says animal abuse should be legal. Yes? So we should legalize abusing animals.
No. You have to change this one. We have to do the opposite.
Animal abuse should be illegal. Yeah.
You don't think abuse should be illegal?
No, it should be illegal.
Oh, it should be illegal. Why?
Because why would it be legal? Like, it's not a good thing.
If you choose to have a pet, domestify it, you shouldn't be allowed to hit it because you're taking control of it.
What if you get benefit from abusing animals?
What way can you get benefit?
Say it again?
How can you benefit from hitting them, hurting them?
Oh, I mean, it's easy, right? Like, let's put it this way. How would you define abuse?
Physically harming or provoking an animal.
Would you say exploitation is abuse?
In a way, yeah.
Is killing abuse?
Yes.
Okay, so do you see any way that we could benefit from killing animals or exploiting animals?
Yeah. Well, yeah, certain animals, but not like domestic pets.
So certain animals are okay to be abused?
I guess, yeah.
Why?
Because humans can benefit from it.
Okay, so what if I benefit from abusing your pet?
Well, I don't think you can from a domestic.
Why not?
But what can you benefit from?
The same thing that I can benefit from abusing any other animal. If you're going to kill animals for food, you can kill dogs for food.
I agree with you.
Yeah. What do you agree with?
That it should be illegal.
It should be illegal, yeah. So when you say that animal abuse should be illegal, that means you want animal products to be illegal because behind animal products there is inherent abuse.
I think people should be able to make up their own minds about that, but I.
So you think people should make up their own mind whether they want to support animal abuse or not?
Yeah. But I don't support it. But
So then doesn't that go a direct contradiction with what you're saying when you're saying animal abuse should be illegal, but people should be allowed whether they want to abuse animals or not? When you say that it should be illegal, you're literally saying nobody should be allowed to abuse animals.
I wouldn't do it myself. I'm a vegetarian myself, but
Yeah.
I think a lot of other people are gonna. Other people have different viewpoints. I don't know. Like,
I understand other people have different viewpoints, but just because somebody else sees animals as resources or they see them as objects, do you think that gives them the right to do this to them? Like, they think that they should be allowed to do this to them? Or do you think people should be allowed to do whatever they want to animals just because they have power over them or some reason or something?
But it would be illegal if enough people thought it should be, no?
Yeah.
So then that's what you have to think about, you know?
Oh, that's what you
Majority of
mean,
the
that
world.
you think
Well, I'm just trying to back Matthew a little bit.
I see what you mean. No, I mean, honestly, I'm just being devil's advocate, when I'm doing this kind of stuff. I'm just trying to challenge your own perceptions of it because I understand where you're coming from, and you seem to have the right values in place, right? It's just that you seem to think that people shouldn't be convicted for, I don't know, supporting animal abuse, right? Or people should not suffer of conviction if they choose to abuse animals.
yeah, pretty much. I mean, if someone's running a farm in a particularly cruel way, then no. But if it's done as humanely as possible and there's enough people around that support it, I mean, if it was a very small minority, I'd probably agree to make it illegal.
Well, because we throw around this humane way, but is it
I think,
humane
like,
to farm
meals
animals?
should be illegal.
Is it humane in any way to farm animals?
Well,
Yeah, it could be humane.
So then it could also be done to humans, right? It would be humane to farm humans. I mean, it's right there in the word.
If I'd say it's humane
That was a
to
good reply.
farm,
I had a whole plan and I was like, I
I'd
can't say that
it's-
now.
I meant like if you had a chicken enclosure and they couldn't tell the difference and you're only taking their eggs. That's
But I understand we can sort of see it that way, but even
not
with
killing them.
chickens, with dairy cows, chickens are also killed. So I've been on organic farms, on biological farms. When chickens no longer lay 7 eggs per week, when their production declines to 6 or 5, they get killed. They're not seen as individuals, they're seen as egg-laying machines, And when an egg-laying machine is no longer as productive as you need it to be, you throw it away and get another. That's what they do.
yeah.
And there's also the fact that when chickens come out of eggs, if the chicken that comes out of an egg is a male who doesn't produce eggs, because they're different species. The chickens that we farm for eggs are different species than the chickens that we farm for meat. So when a chicken that is supposed to be an egg-laying chicken comes out of an egg and they're male, they don't produce eggs. So what do you think happens to them?
They're just killed.
Yeah, in fact, they get macerated up alive. They get blended up alive. That's the standard practice. Or they get asphyxiated to death. They put them in a bag and asphyxiate them. Because there are a lot of them, it's not like one or two, there's a lot of them. That's why they do it this way. It's the easiest way to do it. And they're very small, right? So, of course, it's easy to blend them up alive.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how do you guys feel? Do you guys, which side of it do you want to be? Do you want to be on the side of this violence towards animals, or do you want to be on the side of respecting animals and, just choosing other alternatives?
So are you asking if we should be vegan or
Yeah. What do you want to do? Do you want to do you want to continue with this exploitation, abuse, and slaughter of animals? And I mean, obviously, you can
Well,
find all sorts of justifications, right? Like I like the taste or whatever. But there's no justification that morally considers the animals. You cannot morally consider them and also find a justification to do this to them, can you?
Yeah. But what can you do? It's gonna happen anyway. So.
What is going to happen anyway?
Like animals are gonna die. People are gonna keep eating meat.
But animals don't die; they get killed, you know.
Yeah.
And it's not going to happen anyway.
Die.
You know, there is a supply and demand there, right?
Yeah, well, of course, but you know, meat changing is just a small part of it. You know.
It's up to 100 animals per year you can save by going vegan.
Yeah.
It's not nothing, is it?
Yeah.
So you can be vegan?
No. I'm trying to think of the words. But you're right. There's no way to justify it without thinking about the animals.
Yeah.
No
You're doing good work though.
Yeah, I mean, thank you, but like, it seems like not on you, huh? It seems like you guys are not impressed enough to make changes.
I'm a vegetarian and I eat as little dairy products as I can, but.
But do you know that dairy cows are forcibly impregnated? That they have their babies taken from them? That their babies are killed if they're born male? Like veal? You say you're against veal? Well, veal is a direct product of dairy. Veal only exists because of dairy.
Yeah.
So if you're against veal, you should not consume dairy products.
Yeah, as I said, I try to consume as little as I can.
It's only some veal.
I see what you're saying. I do. I'll try to do better.
Yeah, thank you for that. You know, like it can seem like you know, it can obviously it can seem radical. You know, and like being vegan in a non-vegan world can seem radical, but the reality, what would you say is more radical? To literally cut the throats of animals for something that you don't actually need because you can have alternatives, or is it really that radical to say no to cutting throats of animals?
What about like the whole like? Isn't there stuff that there was an argument someone made at some point that I need to think about? Hold on. Go on, you guys continue for a minute.
I'm trying to think of like
Let
a
me
valid point. Okay.
Go on. Go, Callum.
I think. I don't know. Say, what are you gonna say?
Obviously, I've heard all the arguments, you know. The only reason why I became vegan is because I had the arguments myself. I went through them. There's no valid argument. That's the sad reality. The sad reality is that animals are exploited and killed for us, and that we shouldn't be participating in it, right? It's as easy as that, because if we say we respect animals, if we say we love animals, how the hell can we say that when we force animals in slaughterhouse? And we say, well, dogs are different than cows. Are they really? They're not. To them, it doesn't matter. Like an animal doesn't choose to be born a dog or a cow. Yet if they're born a dog, we say you deserve love. If you're born a cow, fuck you. Be forcefully impregnated, have your throat cut, just so that I get something that I could have otherwise gotten from other places, but I want to get it from you specifically. I want to get my nutrition specifically from your exploitation.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what I mean, like it's.
May I ask, are you from the Netherlands or are you from somewhere else?
No, I'm from Romania originally, but I live in the Netherlands.
Yeah. So when you lived in Romania, did you have these same opinions, or did you develop them when you came here?
I didn't develop them when I came here. I developed them when somebody challenged me on it, and yes, it did happen here. But it wasn't because I was here. It was because, yeah.
If you, is there any chance you would have obstructed those opinions if you stayed in Romania? Do you think it's a cultural thing?
I don't think it's a cultural thing, no. Because a lot of, if you speak to a lot of Dutch people, actually, they'll justify all forms of animal exploitation. In fact, there's Dutch farmers, you know, who farm animals just because they want to show dominance over other farmers. As in, they will farm more animals and kill more animals just so that they have more animals to farm and to kill than other farmers. It's insane. Like, it's not. I don't think it's a cultural thing. I think it's more that maybe I was a bit more open-minded coming here, you know, like towards different concepts. But I was always kind of that way, so it wasn't particularly changed. Right?
I can agree with the justifying. There's no way of justifying it right, but I'd say I personally am not going to make a very big change because culturally, like we're all from Ireland. Ireland, we're very big on like resourcing, and everything's based around the dairy. Like we're good exporters with all sorts of different types of meats. We're big on beef and stuff like that. Personally, my parents, they're both chefs. one of the big things they always do is they get good cuts of meat, stuff like that. I think if I were to go through something where I wanted to change, to become vegan, for example, to cut all that out, I'd not be able to just change my own, but I have to change my family's way of looking around it.
You
and
don't
everything.
have to do that, right? Like, I understand my
I
family
know, I'm
didn't
not saying I have
change.
to, just like I don't know if I would affect change because of the way it is for me.
1:30. It's like I can understand it can feel that way, you know. Like on a global scale, we slaughter around 90 billion land animals per year, and it's a fuck ton of animals, you know. It's like 10 times more than the human population. And obviously, you saving up to 100 animals per year, or not saving them, but more like sparing them the whole idea of bringing them to life only to kill them, can seem like nothing because it's 100 compared to 90 billion. But to those 100 animals, you know, it means everything to them. To those animals that are no longer just brought into existence to be killed, it means a lot, you know, just to be.
Yeah.
So it's like, and also on top of that, you gotta ask yourself, which person do you want to be? You know, like, yeah, sure, everybody's an asshole. Does that mean you should be an asshole? Everybody's supporting animal exploitation. Should you also do it just because everybody does it? Like, personally, I don't think so. The whole reason that I became open-minded was because, well, the whole reason of being open-minded, the whole idea of being open-minded is to challenge these things. Even if everybody does it, doesn't mean you should also do it, right? And maybe others will follow along. You never know what your impact is.
Yeah.
How do you apply that to other parts of your life?
I try to, yes, yeah.
Would you buy ethically made electronics and ethically made?
Yeah, that's why my phone is old as shit. It's like 6 years old, because ever since I went vegan, I realized that it's true. I should apply it to every part of my life, and I no longer want to buy electronics unless I absolutely need to. And then in those situations, I try to buy them secondhand, firstly, and if I can't, then I have to look up the whole thing about it. Yeah.
Yeah, fair response.
Yeah, I think it's important that we all kind of make these choices. It's just that I agree, like when certain choices that we make in life, it's a little bit harder. Like you said, electronics is a little bit harder. But when it comes to like plant-based versus animal-based products, it's pretty simple. It's like one is plant-based, one is animal-based. You don't even need to think too much. You just gotta choose the plant-based version.
What time is it?
Yeah.
22. Yeah. Do you want to go watch the Ireland match?
Yeah. How about I give you some cards?
Yeah.
You promised me to, but I just want you guys to look a little bit more into it, because it's, you know, you seem like young people, and I feel like, you know, my biggest regret in life is not doing it sooner, and maybe you don't want to have the same regret as me. If you scan this QR code, watch the Minion or the most important speech you'll ever hear, okay?
Okay.
You promised me you watch one of
Well,
those?
yeah.
Okay, I appreciate you guys.
Alright,
I appreciate you guys.
Nice to meet you.
Open-minded people.
Thank you very
Nice
much.
to see you. Thank you for having this conversation with me. Cheers, guys. Somebody became a member. Oh, that's cool. Marcos, thank you for being a member. Nice. Everybody, I am at the level of a little bit of an emergency. I'm having difficulties moving because I have to use the bathroom. A lot of Ike is busy. So I will have to say adieu to everybody. I hope you've enjoyed the conversations. I hope you got a lot out of this. I don't know. And if you're not subscribed, please subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you see when I go live. If you're not vegan, look up the videos. There's a 3-minute video link in the footer of this, in the description of this video. It takes 3 minutes. Look. Just it shows you kind of a broad spectrum of what it is that you're supporting. And if you don't want to be part of that, then don't be part of it. It's as easy as that. You have several resources to help you there. Thank you for everybody who donated. Thank you for the new members. Thank you for the moderators who have done an amazing job. Thank you for everybody in the chat who's been talking to people. You know, as I said, we're a team. We do this together. That's it. Thank you. Have an awesome day. And I'm going to go use one of these paid bathrooms. And yeah, have an awesome day. Bye, everybody. I'll be back again, says John VA. I appreciate you, John VA. Thank you, everybody. Bye.